Hey there, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to another stream. I see people in chat. They're like, when is the stream starting? Right now, bish. Congrats. How's everyone doing today? I have adjusted chat, so finally you chat will be relevant with the video. Hopefully this doesn't completely destroy my bullshit internet, okay? I'm hoping. OMG, stripes looks good on you. Thank you. The funny thing is I'm actually wearing shorts that are checkered, and I know you're not supposed to do stripes and checkers, so I did it anyway. I wonder if he has ever used that sword. Only on the libcucks. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we'll see. There is a very high likelihood that we might be having a convo with people today about George Floyd. I'm not entirely sure, but we will. We'll have to see. Dang, Hunter's a badass. Thanks. I think. Why do you have a traffic cone? Because that is the cone that tells all of you hoes when it is time to stop. That cone says no. Okay? When the cone says no, you have to listen. The cone must be obeyed. That's why. Where's the emotes? I'm working on it. And when I say working on it, I mean I've already heard about it and haven't done anything about it because I forgot. Okay? How are you today? Anyway, I'm doing good. Thanks. Hunter, how much of the audience knows what no means, though? Hunter, the fashion police are going to George Floyd you? Yup. Cone, daddy. It's funny because if you ask my daughter, Rose, you say, hey, what does the cone say? She'll literally say, the cone says no. So yeah, if anyone wants to debate, as always, I am here, ready and willing, as always, to go full debate bro mode on you. Speaking of debate bro, the first thing I want to talk about today is not going to be a segment or anything. This is just, if you're here watching on the stream, if you're watching on Twitch, you're especially cool. But if you're watching on stream in general, I love you. And now you are getting a peek of shit that you're not going to see if it was posted on a thing.
You're a left-leaning person who cares about...
Okay. Why is this guy getting views on attacking me? What the fuck? All right, whatever. So someone put a video out on TikTok about me. Now TikTok is like the only place that I'm gaining views right now. So I try to just stay away from any drama related bullshit on TikTok. But this guy made a video talking about why I am actually like really bad or disingenuous. And he also took a clip from my panel, which I don't know. I hate when people do that because it's like, do you not understand if you're on the fucking like the vicious go for the throat panel? Then yeah, you're probably going to see someone who's like getting mad and yelling and like trying to back their opponent into a corner. Like that's what you do on these panels. It's a little different than debates. But whatever, let's go ahead.
If you are a left-leaning person who cares about political...
Why is this so quiet? That's why.
discourse, please take the time to watch this. It's a breakdown of somebody on the left using manipulation pawned off as intelligence to show that this is not just a strategy of Ben Shapiro's. Here we have Hunter Avalone, a streamer and YouTuber who was once conservative turned liberal and makes videos on current events. And in this clip, he uses multiple logical fallacies to incite upset and seemingly embarrass his opponent on the topic of vaccines. His initial questions are fine and seem unbiased and in good faith.
If you don't trust the CDC, then who do you trust? These major, usually recognized and trusted institutions, then what do you trust?
These are great, and I've wondered these myself, which is why I kept watching the video. The guy answers and basically says, I take information from different sources and come to a conclusion.
How do you know what's misinformation?
Information from all sorts of different sources and then make it come to a conclusion. It might come from the CDC, it might come from other places.
Honestly, I think this is fair, right? Like,
no, this is exactly why the dude doesn't like the approach I took, is because if he thinks that that was a good response, then that's why he doesn't do this and I do, pretty much. Like, the dude responded this way and was like, First of all, I guess it's not totally fair because this was posted on TikTok. It was just a clip. But if you'd watched the whole panel, which I can't expect anyone to do, but for the sake of full context, I mean, this guy had already said he didn't trust the CDC. And then he said, well, I trust also anything. I might trust the CDC. I might not. So that sounds...
And then make it come to a conclusion. It might come from the CDC. It might come from other places.
So that's stupid if he already said he doesn't trust the CDC and then he says, I just look at my own research and come to a conclusion. That's a bad argument. That doesn't make sense. You can't just trust the CDC when you like it and not trust it when you don't. That's not how this works.
Honestly, I think this is fair, right? Like, I trust the CDC, but to not solely listen to one source, even one that is widely recognized, is not a wildly harmful thought. And he even starts to say, maybe I agree with him, but he's cut off with a straw man argument.
Maybe I might agree
So
with
you do trust the CDC
maybe I don't.
sometimes?
What?
So you only like the CDC when it agrees with you?
There it is.
That's fair.
Okay.
So this is why he thinks this is bad faith, and this is why he doesn't understand, is that is the logical follow-through of that man's argument. 100%. I don't trust the CDC. They're bullshit. Well, who do you trust? Well, I just do my own research and come to a conclusion. It might even be the CDC. So you only trust the CDC when you agree with it. That's obviously the logical follow-through of the dude's claim.
Never said that. Hunter put all of those words in his opponent's mouth.
I didn't say
and now
he
his
said
opponent is
that.
stuck trying to defend a point he never made.
That's not when... Did you...
You can hear him trying to figure out what just happened.
Because that's the logical follow-through. That's the inference. That's the follow-through of what he said. Oh my god. I asked this guy if he'd like to talk. I said I promise no debate bro tactics.
And Hunter reiterates the straw man again.
It depends on what they're talking about, if it makes any fucking sense.
If it makes any sense, which would be what? Something that you agree with, right? This is it. Come on.
Again, this is not what his opponent was saying. Hunter
Really?
then plays another logical fallacy to anger his opponent even further using a false dichotomy.
Wait. You either trust the CDC or you don't. You don't trust...
That's not true. You can absolutely trust the CDC or any source most of the time or some of the time. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but the guy loses it.
I'm gonna do anything you fucking say. Every time you say...
But it's because the guy said he didn't trust the CDC, and then he says he does his own research, and sometimes he might trust the CDC if it makes any fucking sense. To me, that sounds like a dude who's selectively picking what he agrees with and what he doesn't, based on, or what he finds true and what he doesn't, based on whether or not he already agrees with it. That is the logical follow-through of what he's saying.
Say something about...
So who won? Sure, the guy blew up, but not because he was wrong, because Hunter was no longer arguing in good faith. And as a cherry on top, Hunter adds an ad hominem attack.
It's funny how
I
he
do
throws
think-
a tantrum when he's That's actually not an ad talented. hom.
don't-
All right, if this guy's gonna attack me for shit, he can't say that that's an ad hom. You shouldn't trust any source completely. I agree with that. It's okay to be skeptical, but the guy said that the CDC was all liars, that he didn't trust them at all, that they're just a bunch of fucking liars or whatever. And then he said, well, I might trust the CDC if it makes any fucking sense. Come on. It's clearly obvious what he was, the inference of what he was saying. I only trust Channel 5 for news. I don't trust the CDC, but it's fun using their own data to disprove their claims. Why don't you get in the Discord and we can talk about that? Big Mac, thanks for the $10. Did you see the conservatives are calling the new My Little Pony film woke? Come on. No. My Little Pony has gone woke. Oh, of course, Tucker's face pops up. New Netflix movie introduces progressive creatures.
There's definitely a lot to learn for someone.
Fuck off. It appears My Little Pony, the kid-friendly animated franchise that dates back to the 80s, has gone woke. Netflix has released My Little Pony, the next generation. And the 90-minute film welcomes new fantastical creatures, some of them fear-mongering, with a mission to restore the pony world of Equestria with magic. Huh? Is this supposed to be like a fascist thing? Each ponies, unicorns, and Pegasi living in fear and mistrust against each other. Okay, wait, where's the woke? In an apparent effort to send a message to kids about empowerment, unity, and reform, Along the way, they meet some pals and band together as a pack of young progressives wanting to make a change. Here's where they go. I think that it really reflects the times. Hudgens said of the movie's impact in the interview, "My character believes in inclusion and friendship." Is that the woke? Please tell me that's not it. Come on. They're just grasping, right? That can't be the only thing. At one point, Sonny leads a charge against a demonstration led by a defensive weapons manufacturer. Their mission is full of misadventures, but these new best friends each possess their own unique and special gifts. Meanwhile, Marston pointed out that his character Hitch is the first male pony of the core characters of the Ponyverse. The Times hints at the surprisingly unsubtle references to America's current political climate, likely to get picked up by parents viewing with their little ones. The anti-magic ponies are essentially anti-science. Meanwhile, Zhang Sprout is a crimson demagogue with a bleach blonde mane who ascends to power. So that's it going woke? The bad guy had blonde hair. Some of it could be have some political undertones. You realize that, like, films oftentimes have political undertones, right? Like, this isn't a new thing. There are plenty of cartoons, children's movies even, that have political undertones if you watch them again as an adult. Look, this isn't woke. Friendship and inclusion, guys. Gone woke. Before the world was so PC, we used to be able to beat the fuck out of each other. No inclusion here. Get lost, hippie. Yay. But, okay. It's gone woke, guys. You heard it here. The entire theme of the movie is racism. Even if they want it to have political undertones, it's literally on the next generation. So yeah, that's probably going to have, like, some political undertones. Hasn't wokeness always been a part of the MLP theme, though? I don't even fucking know. Or care. Any anti-vaxxers in here that want to talk? We'll see. Hunter, are you based on the pony question? I can't talk about that right now. I might get banned, okay? What was I gonna talk about? Oh yeah, the George Floyd thing. So, all right, let's pause the music. Okay, go and give it a pause. We might even have Mayo coming back on the stream to talk about why he's super mad about there being a George Floyd statue. So let me let him know that I'm gonna go live, and I'm live right now. I mean, and that if he wants to chat, he can. How do I tweet him? Okay. Okay, I'll stay in my little live thing here, and I'll sit here in the welcome, because I was really hoping that, I hope that somebody would like to chat about this at least. Just, you know, someone. After you call him Mayo, he'll rage quit. You know what? Maybe he will. But Big Mac, thank you very much for the $10 donation, and thank you for informing me of this hell that we now have of calling My Little Pony woke because they talk about inclusion. Okay, very cool. But all right, let's talk about the George Floyd statue. So throughout the country, there is a monument that has been put up. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. Throughout the country, there is a specific monument that is being put up in different cities for certain amounts of time. There's only one display, so it's being moved around. So an artist bust of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and John Lewis go up in the New York's Union Square. So it's a public art exhibition that obviously is titled See Injustice. So this is a symbolic thing that is very clearly intended to raise awareness of injustice that has occurred in this country. There's nothing wrong with talking about that. And I think that this George Floyd statue, like I said, it's being moved around. It has a pretty clear intent. It also is privately funded completely. Let me see if I can find this one part here. Okay. Yeah, it's being supported by Taylor's family, Floyd's family, and their charity, as well as the John and Lillian Mile Lewis Foundation. So, here's another picture of it right here. Public art exhibition, privately funded, taxpayer dollars are not going to this, okay? Right here, displayed until the end of October, and then it's moving to a different city. That's what's going on here. And this was recently vandalized. I, of course, don't agree with that and said that that was kind of bad. And then what was strange is that I think people try to think that try to claim that I'm being a hypocrite because it's like I'm fine with like them taking the Confederate statues down, but I don't think they should like take these down. The thing is that obviously statues at the end of the day are symbols of something. Of course, people's perception of that matters, and everyone's perception is unique, but you have to look past just public perception of a statue and recognize what the statue actually stands for, what it's symbolic for, and you can do that with various different ways, right? So, like, for example, this position that I have, I believe obviously is the correct position, and it allows me to be consistent completely across the board. So, do I think that, or let me back up. What people often will say, or their complaints about this, like the angry dissent, it comes from people that oftentimes are screeching that like, well, George Floyd did bad things in his life, so why do we have a statue of him, right? And so I would say, because statues are symbolic. They mean something more than just the one individual. They can sometimes be a way to just honor a specific individual, but they can also, and oftentimes they are, put up with specific intent meant to symbolize something, right? So, for example, this is why I think it's dumb to be like, we should take down George Washington's statue because he owned slaves. No, I don't agree with that because we're not really looking at George Washington as in his individual life. Did he ever do anything bad? Rather, we see the statue of George Washington as a symbol of what George Washington stood for, what he fought for. His face is associated with the founding of America, American values, fighting for America to be free from the British. This is what George Washington is or symbolizes, right? And that's why I think it's ridiculous to be like, he owned slaves, take him down. No. So, this is also consistent, though, with Confederate monuments. So, the Confederate monuments were put up intentionally as a fuck you to black people. I bring this up every time, but you can literally look at the chart and see how it correlates with every time civil rights issues flared up, these Confederate monuments would flare up as well. Those are symbolic also. That means something. And what that symbolizes is the movement of the Confederacy, the movement of a group of people that were so set on keeping black people in chains, they were willing to betray their country. That's what those statues, the Confederate monuments, stand for. Even if people have their own individual perception of it, their own whatever, at the end of the day, statues are put up with intent. They oftentimes have specific meaning. And if this statue is up there honoring someone wearing a Confederate uniform, a Confederate soldier, then what you're doing is that is symbolic for an overall ideology, the Confederacy movement. And lastly, now we come to George Floyd. We don't look at George Floyd and say, well, one time he got a parking ticket, so why the fuck do we have a statue of him? No. We look at what George Floyd symbolizes. And George Floyd, whether you like him or not, George Floyd is symbolic for a time when America united almost unanimously on Black Lives Matter's side. Even conservatives were coming out and saying, I saw the George Floyd video and it was fucked. It was despicable. No one should be treated like that. That is really fucked up. Everyone was agreeing on that. George Floyd is symbolic of a much greater issue and a much greater time in history when Americans were uniting, coming together saying his death was unfair and unjust. And lastly, we don't just have statues of people just to honor them, because by that logic, you would never be able to have a monument or any kind of memorial. Like, look at the 9/11 stuff. We're not saying like they were heroes for dying in 9/11. No, it's a way to pay homage, to say we remember these people and their names are now associated with 9/11 and what happened and how horrific that is. And the same can be said for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. I'm not really sure John Lewis, wasn't he was in politics. I'm not really sure what he had to do with injustice necessarily, but as far as George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, it's a pretty clear-cut and consistent approach, I think, to take it that way. I think that we should take the Confederate monuments. I don't think that they should be like burned or vandalized or anything. I think that they should be appropriately removed, kept in storage, and then put in a museum whenever it's the right time, I guess. What's up? Alcastrophobia.
Oh wait, hold on.
You're really quiet.
Sorry, hi. Good
Hi, you
morning.
here to debate? Is there a guy named BLR who wants to talk?
Maybe.
Are you BLR?
No.
Okay. What's up?
Hi, I've been an old fan of yours. It's kind of funny to see like what happened to you.
Are you like a former fan? Are you still a fan? What's...
More or less like I grew in the sense of like how explaining it. I grew with you as time went by.
Cool.
Like in a sense, as a kid, it was easy to get kind of like dragged into that whole like oh, you know, there's Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Jones, then you, and then there was other people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well,
And then they went full circle, and now I'm here.
you're a proud social democrat?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Cool. Well, glad to hear from you, man. Glad you're still sticking around, all right?
Yeah.
All right, bro.
So it's about monuments.
Yeah, is that what you want to debate about?
Yeah, I thought like you know how they did with the Lenin statues if we like exclude some of the other countries that were kept under the Soviet Union regime that were of course destroyed because well, yeah. Most of the ones in Russia were kept in a park in Moscow. That's what you could do with the Confederates.
Well, they're already in a park, right? like oftentimes.
Yeah, but like put them in a specific park for that sake of reason to, like, you know, teach them for the sake of learning of what the symbolic meaning of those things were from that back in time.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same idea, I guess, as like putting it in a museum with the proper context included.
Yeah. Like you take your kid to the park and like, yeah, you see the statue doing? This was a
That's
bad
the guy
guy.
that owned slaves. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, man, well, I appreciate you coming on, all right? But I do have to move on to the next caller.
All right.
See you, man. Jack489, hello. Jack 489. Hello? All right, hold on. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, yes. What would you like to talk about?
Oh, I was just on what you've just recently been talking about over the Confederate statues.
Okay, have we debated
Yeah.
before?
I think once or twice, but it was on an old phone and it didn't work very well, if that makes sense.
Okay, got it. So yeah, you're sounding a little better now. So what's up? You want to talk about the Confederate monuments or whatever?
Yeah, my argument is that you're saying that the Confederate monuments should be destroyed because of what they represent to you, but George Floyd shouldn't be removed because of what he represents to you. But you
No,
could.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's significantly deeper than what this means to me. It doesn't really matter what it represents to me at the end of the day. First of all, I'm not saying the Confederate statue should be removed or should be destroyed. I'm specifically saying that the Confederate statue should be taken down properly and put in a museum with proper context. That's my position on it. So
Yeah,
and I'm
I
not.
agree
So
with
it's
you.
not based on my own idea of it, but rather it's based on the actual purpose of these statues and the movement that they represent. Right, that goes much beyond like my own perception of it. This is actually like historical. Like, why were these statues put up? What were they? What was the intention of putting them up? For example, what does it stand for? What movement is it? What is it supposed to be symbolizing? Right? It's a lot deeper than just like, oh, my perception is that this statue is of a nice mailman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get your argument, but I think the argument I would always make is the Confederate movement didn't push for slavery until the very end of the war. That wasn't on the table. So I don't think it. So what I've always said is that
the war was
you
over
shouldn't-
slavery.
Yeah, but slavery wasn't on the table until towards the end of the war, after pressure from other countries forced President Lincoln to push to end slavery. There was no pledge to end slavery until around towards the end of the war.
Even if that
And
was
the
true,
Queen-
it doesn't. Even if that were true, it doesn't matter because we can look at why these Confederate statues were put up, and they were put up with a specific intent. And the reason for that was for the South to say, fuck you, we still think black people are subhuman, and we are mad that we lost the war. They were like participation trophies almost. Like, it's honestly pathetic. And the thing that's funny is we would never apply the same standard to any other kind of like imagine if there was like a statue put up of a Nazi during World War II as a fuck you to America. Like, I don't think we'd be over here like, well, I think, they didn't really not like Jews. They were just kind of brainwashed into following the Nazis. Like, no, we would probably want to take that fucking statue down, right?
Yeah. I mean, there were statues put up of Hitler and statues put up of Stalin, and I think a lot of statues of Stalin still exist today. Whereas Hitler and the other Nazi statues were taken down slowly, often not actually immediately after the war. It was sometime afterwards.
Well, I don't really trust your historical interpretation, no offense. So we should just stick to the modern day stuff. I think that taking the statues down makes pretty good sense, though.
So do you think that there should still be statues to represent more of a nuanced perspective about other things that the Confederates fought for? Because most Confederates didn't see themselves as fighting for slavery, even though that's how we see them today.
I don't know if that's true. I think that it was pretty clear cut one of the reasons that they were
Yeah.
fighting for.
Yeah. So,
So,
to an extent.
to a
I
large
mean,
extent, yes, that is what ultimately divided it and brought the country to a civil war. So
Yeah.
it just
So if you look at, I think,
when we again, it kind of goes back to like the origin of the statues, though, too. Like
Yeah.
if we wanted to, now here's the thing: I think that there is totally room for that, and where that would be great is in a museum. Imagine a museum where you walk in and they say, "Hey, here's this statue. It was built at this time. This was the reason." But it's important to remember that, you know, some people were just kind of victimized. They were part of a system that sort of just drafted them into this war. I don't know. I think that there'd be a lot more room for context there rather than keeping it out in the public where it kind of more or less does look like you're just honoring someone that fought against America and fought in favor of like objectively abhorrent ideas.
I think that's a fair argument. I think that I think I sort of agree with you. You sort of, I didn't think that was your stance, because my interpretation of what you were saying is that these statues shouldn't be able to exist because they fought for slavery, but you're actually a bit more nuanced.
No. I'm much more nuanced about that. That's like just like what I said about the founding fathers statues too. Like I wouldn't be in favor of taking down like a statue of George Washington because he owned slaves. Because again, we look at like what does George Washington symbolize? What did he stand for ultimately? And that was like broadly, especially nowadays, broadly speaking, the foundation of America, the founding fathers fighting against the British. We don't look at like his individual life and pick apart everything. And I think that that's fair to say with George Floyd also. Like George Floyd statues aren't being put up because George Floyd is a hero and he lived his life like a saint. No, they're being put up because it's like it symbolizes a grave injustice that happened in America.
Yeah, I fully agree with that, to be honest. I just sort of, I didn't understand completely what your argument was. I'll be happy to debate you on other things in the future, but thanks for the call anyway.
Sure, man. No problem. I appreciate the talk. Have a good one.
You too.
I'm seeing some dumb people in my chat right now. He was brutalized by police. He didn't have ideas. He was just a dude. Fucking freaks. Systemic racism is the biggest con in American history. Hey, get in my Discord, both of you. Alex Stout, Discord. Now, pal. 5 minutes, I'll prove you wrong. Go on. Chris Scully, okay, on my way. Yeah, Chris Scully, get in the Discord. I think he's over here. Is that the one saying fentanyl Floyd? No, that's Cameron Scott. Yeah, Cameron Scott. We're at peak lunacy. A statue of a worthless nobody. Oh, shit. I would love to talk to you. Get in my motherfucking Discord, please. Yeah, Cameron Scott. Come on, buddy. Hello. Spook Doro. Are you here to debate? You know he's worthless. Cameron Scott, get in the Discord. You have 3 minutes or you're getting banned. Spook Doro, hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Mick, what's up?
Mika.
Mika, hi, how are you?
Doing all right.
Are you here to debate?
Not really. I just kind of wanted to bring up a unique point.
Okay.
So, if white supremacists are so upset that their statues are, or like that, you know, their symbols are being removed, And your solution to put them into museums is actually like a really good one for them too, because they get preserved and taken care of. And like, I don't understand why there isn't more, I guess, support from both sides on this, to put them in museums.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably just because for like white supremacists, they're very stupid. So when they see that like a statue is going to be moved, like they think that it means that like the elites are erasing, or I'm sorry, the Jews are erasing their history and heritage or something. Like it's because these people are scared shitless and they have no grasp on reality, so they've kind of like delved into just pure insanity. It's kind of sad, honestly. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that like most more reasonable people usually are in favor of putting them in a museum. Like I said, I don't think that they should be like destroyed or vandalized or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
not necessarily. Like I think that it's much better for them to be put in a museum and just given proper context. So
Yeah. And going to like the what you said with the quote, in quotes, elite. I've seen plenty of that in my life because being a Jewish person myself, it's just it's been it's
yeah,
been it's been weird.
yeah, people are really
And
fucking.
that's my cat in the Discord photo.
Oh, very, very cool.
All right. I don't
All
want
right,
to take
well,
up too much of your time. That's just what I wanted to
no
say.
worries, no worries. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. See you in the next stream, Hunter.
See ya. Bye. All right, Cameron Scott, you're getting banned. Bye. Hey guys, go ahead and ban him. Because he hasn't told me what his Discord is. No, you can just go ahead and ban Cameron Scott. Unless his next message is what his Discord username is, he's getting banned. Let me try to call this person directly. All right, he said to ban him. Go ahead. Go ahead and just ban him. Forget it. Hello?
Okay, so Discord doesn't work when I get moved.
Okay, no worries. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Um, I,
What did you
I'm
want to
sorry you
argue
went through
about?
the trouble of doing that. I don't really have a debate. I just wanted to let you know that you should have a fan-fucking-tastic day.
Thanks, man. Well, you too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching your content, like, for, like, since you, like, supported Trump. I used to be a huge Trump supporter, but now I'm, like, a social democrat, too. It's kind of wild. But, yeah,
Base. Base.
just have,
Welcome to the based crew.
thank you, sir. You have a fan-fucking-tastic day.
You too, man. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Now there's a good debate. Oh well. I'm kind of bummed because I was really, I'm not gonna lie, I was low key hoping for a good debate here, but no one's gonna. Come on, none of these pussies want to talk, huh? Guys, Chris Scully gave me his phone number. Call me, Hunter. There is no. I'll tell you how you, the people, was deceived. Is this a real phone number? You know what? Fuck, I gotta get on. Is that a real phone number? You know what, Chris Scully? I'm just high enough that I'm gonna try this, okay? No, I'm just kidding. But I am gonna try to call you. There is no way. It's okay. I'm calling on Skype. Yeah, call decline. The number you entered was invalid. Obama's personal cell phone. They're saying it's in Germany. Hold on, I'm muting the stream because I'm scared of what he's gonna answer. This might be a prank. This could be pizza. It just went to a random automated voice messaging system. All right, whatever. I called the number that is actually him. Hunter's about to get all his data leaked online. No, I'm not calling on my actual phone, you idiots. Just kidding. I love you. Call me again. All right. How do you do it again?
Yeah, hello.
Is this Chris Scully, the man himself?
Yes, this is. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I've never had someone actually put their phone number in my chat and then actually call it on Skype and someone just answers.
No, listen, I just want to say that you don't understand the lengths of the media will go to divide us through race, religion, wealth, skin color, all that stuff. George Floyd was a psyop, okay? If you go back and you look at the video, first of all, the police officer's badge was crooked. Do you tell me what police officer isn't, consciously worried about how he's dressed?
What do you mean? The police officer... Wait, hold on. The police officer killed George Floyd.
Floyd.
Wait, hold on. The police officer that put his knee on George Floyd's neck. I don't think you can say that he had he had a crooked badge, so it means it's a psyop?
No. I'm going to take this further. Look at the
dude didn't care about protocol. He kneeled on someone's neck. He probably had a crooked badge too.
Listen. Look at the police officer, the SUV. The license plate says police. Now, every police municipal vehicle has its own vehicle license plate number. It just doesn't say police. Then let's take it further. When the ambulance pulls up, how come it's two Minnesota State troopers get out? Tell me why. Hunter, are you there?
Yeah, I'm looking up your other claim first. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, look at his badge, and I'm going to tell you something too.
All right, wait.
Floyd,
hold on. So, I don't think it matters if they have a police license plate.
Yes, it does, because it's a psyop. It tells you right then and there. You think I'm the only one that believes this?
Wait, hold on.
There's a bunch of people that agree with me that George Floyd.
I'm trying to find this. Hold on.
Was a psyop to create racial division in this country.
Hold on. We're going one claim at a time here. Right now, I'm literally just trying to fact check your wild claim that this is somehow some unique thing. When instead it looks like this is actually
the original video.
No, this looks common among other police cars also. Hold on. I'm just trying to find anything about this. So hold on. All right. Cuz I mean, if this license plate thing changes everything.
Yeah, look at it.
I mean, this could be insane.
Wait.
This proves right here that this was a CIA psyop.
Yeah. Well, did you know that George Floyd was also a part of the Freemasons?
Hold on. Jesus Christ. I wish I am not going to be good at finding, trying to fact check these insane claims. I'm going to have to just... I'm looking it up, though, and I'm seeing there are other police cars. I think it might be something specifically with Minneapolis.
Okay, listen. I talked to several sheriffs and city police officers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, God. Finally, some clarity through the bullshit. Oh, whew, I feel like I was just like dying, right? And in like a tunnel, and I'm suddenly seeing the light. So, Minneapolis police license plate doesn't raise a false flag from factcheck.org. Let's read just the quick take, okay?
Don't believe those
I know. I'm
fact-checkers.
sure it's conspired, probably.
Call the Minnesota Police Department.
This is
and ask
probably
them
part of it.
directly.
I know they're all intertwined. I know how it goes. But let me just read this first. Social media posts incorrectly claim that Minneapolis police license plates don't say police, and that proves the death of George Floyd was a planned event. Actually, many police vehicles in Minneapolis have that license plate. Exactly what I thought.
Okay.
All right, hold on. A popular screenshots meme spreading this theory on Facebook. So you really should take a break from Facebook. Police plates don't
get
say
on Facebook to
police.
look
That's
at
what
my
they
phone.
said. But in Minneapolis, they do.
What?
Pictures from the Minneapolis Police Department's Facebook page and media coverage over the years show that many official vehicles for the department have license plates that bear the word police. So this is
Well,
a
then let me
common
ask you
thing
this.
in Minneapolis, my
How would
friend.
how would they identify that certain vehicle?
I don't know.
I could put,
Maybe they
I
have
could put
different ways
truck
of
on my
doing such.
license plate.
Let's see. I guess I can try to find. Hold on.
Hey, Hunter. I
Okay,
tell you
under
what,
Minnesota
buddy.
state law, police
You got my
vehicles that are
phone
clearly
number.
marked are not required to display numbered license plates.
Okay, then explain it to Minnesota state troopers
So I'm
that got out of the
Dude, I'm
ambulance.
reading it right here in the Minnesota statutes. So this is not a false flag at all. This is literally a common thing in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. So this doesn't mean it's a false flag. This means nothing at all. Literally nothing. So we have so far a license plate that says police that's actually extremely common in Minneapolis and has been this way for years, right?
I bet you $1 to a donut you're wrong.
And then we have the guy had a crooked badge. The dude
Yes,
who
he had a
clearly
crooked badge
cared
on.
so little about protocol, he was willing to kneel on a man's neck for 10 minutes and kill him and has now been found guilty by a jury. He had a
Okay,
crooked
let me ask
badge,
you
so that
something.
proves it was fake? Come on, man.
Okay, listen, let me ask you something, okay? I've talked to many police officers here in Nashville, okay?
I don't care.
I asked them, I said, if one of your officers was leaning on the neck of another man, of a man, and he was saying, breathe, you know what I was told by all of them? That would never happen, because once we handcuff you, we are putting you in the squad car and we are getting you to jail so you can be processed. They would never said they would have waited around for 8 minutes while one of their officers was leaning on the neck of another man. They said that never would have happened.
But that's why he was found guilty, because it shouldn't have happened. They violated police protocol in killing him. What do you mean? Just if, of course, they probably said, yeah, that never should have happened because we're trained not to do so. That's what was found in court, by the way, too. That the way that, hold on, the way that Derek Chauvin was trained actually was that, because sometimes people try to say, well, if you look at it, they're actually trained to put their knee on his neck. And here's the truth of the matter. They are trained partially, if someone's heavily resisting, to put their knee on their neck for a moment to hold them down.
How was
But
he heavily resisting when he was in handcuffs saying he couldn't breathe?
I know. So they violated police protocol.
You're buying it. You're buying more into the psyop. It's leading you right into what you're believing.
Is this
now.
how desperate you don't want to? What? This sounds like someone who just wants to not believe that like something this bad could happen in the real world. I'm sorry, man. This happened.
What,
It's
like
real. And
psyops don't happen. Psyops don't happen, Hunter.
I'm not saying yeah.
division of our
I think that this
country.
is a psyop. I think you calling me right now is a psyop. Okay, if I'm going to be
No,
fair,
it's not a psyop.
it's a
I'm a real
psyop to
human
it's a
being
psyop
sitting
that I've
here
set up
telling
to make
you
me look like
that
I'm a
George
massive
Floyd
big brain
was
here,
a
because this is
psyop to
no, because
create
everything you're
division
saying right.
racially in our country.
Okay, so
And
it's
if
not
you-
a
if you gave
psyop
me
to
30
create
minutes,
racial division in the
30
country.
minutes.
First of all,
Wait,
racial
listen,
division
you
has.
have my phone number? Do you want my email? I'll give you my email.
I appreciate it, but no thanks.
No, because you're
What?
not. You're still buying into the psyop.
I
can prove that you're wrong. What police officer do you know walks out of his house with his badge crooked in his uniform?
What? Why is this so significant to you? I've never heard. Hold on, wait.
Listen,
Stop. I am actually okay. I'm gonna tell you something a secret. Okay, I'm definitely too high for this conversation. The guy doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
That it is a psyop for you to pick up on.
So don't you think if it was a psyop, they would be really, really careful? If everything was pre-planned, right? Wouldn't they be super careful in making sure everything would look perfect?
No, because
so wouldn't a messed up badge actually prove the realism of it more than anything? But maybe that's what they want you to believe, isn't it?
Hunter, listen, I tell you what. I want you to personally call me, because I'm at work right now. I want you to personally call me around 6 p.m. tonight, and I will show you how wrong you are.
I don't need to call you. I already know that you're wrong.
Why
A jury has found this man.
You're reading fact checks.
Yes.
You don't think
partially I'm reading fact checks, yeah.
That people would look this stuff up? Dude, okay, tell me how.
What do you mean? You're all over the place, my friend. You're not making any sense right now.
To have police on their license plate, how do I personally identify that vehicle?
Because according to Minnesota or Minneapolis state law, vehicles that are exempt from tax or license fees also include police vehicles, unmarked vehicles. Right here, over in factcheck.org. Under Minnesota state law, police vehicles that are clearly marked are not required to display numbered license plates. You can say it was a police car, and then they can look. I'm assuming that they have a system. They probably can tell where they've been, or at least they should. But again, it sounds like you're just looking at this and you're just really upset that something. Wait, stop, because it sounds. Stop, sir.
Out of the ambulance.
It sounds like what you're doing right now is turning to conspiracy. Wait, can I get a word in, please? It sounds like. All right, I'm gonna have to mute you. I am literally gonna have to mute you because you're not letting me talk.
Okay, go ahead.
So oftentimes when something like this happens, when something as disturbing as a man with being suffocated to death by a police officer, you don't want to believe that that's capable of happening in America and by our fine police officers. And I understand that. But I can tell you this right now. You want to talk about falling into some psyop, falling into anything. What you have fallen into right now is a statistic, because it has been statistically demonstrated that during times of great stress, during times like this with a lot of trauma with what happened to George Floyd, it's easy to turn to conspiracy theories to make sense of that complicated issue. And that is what you're doing right now. You have turned to a conspiracy theory, yes.
I could say you're a conspiracy for believing it.
No, you can't. This is why you're a conspiracy theorist. You have no evidence for your claim, and I have evidence for my claim.
I just told you. Call me 6 p.m. tonight, Central, and I'll have the evidence for you.
Why do you not? Can you give me some off the top of your head?
Okay, I just asked you. Why did 2 state Minnesota troopers get out of the back of an ambulance?
I don't know.
Why did that happen?
I don't know the answer to everything, but something tells me if I try to find out, you're just going to make fun of me for fact-checking it. Do you want me to just Google it for you, or do you not trust what the elites are going to show us? I don't know.
I'll tell you why. Because Google is biased.
Yep.
Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of them are biased against anything that goes against the grain of their story or narrative.
Totally.
That's
exactly why
in the media
conspiracy theories proliferate constantly on Facebook. But yes, very true. How have we managed to move over to Facebook all of a sudden?
Do you know where I'm sorry, I don't mean to yell. Do you know where the word conspiracy derived from?
Let me guess. The CIA invented it to discredit anyone that went against what they said.
You're like 90% correct.
No, that's wrong. That's a lie.
It was a term that the FBI used to discredit anything against the JFK assassination.
I'm sorry. I apologize to say this, But you have lost this round, my friend. That is not true. If you go back in history, you can look throughout literature and you can literally see conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorist, the phrase even being paired together in literature back in the 1800s. So, my friend, I'm sorry. Wrong. You need to consider doing a little bit more research. Maybe that's just what the elites want us to know, though. That could be. I don't know.
So let me ask you something.
It's just, hold on, wait, no. There was one other thing I wanted to say really quick is that it was funny that you tried. It was really funny that you tried to pivot to
racial division in this country.
It was really funny that you tried to pivot to like Facebook all of a sudden. You were like, Facebook is really biased, but then you literally came in here citing to me bullshit that was a conspiracy theory that spread on Facebook. You see the irony there? Like, you saw this conspiracy theory on Facebook, most likely, and now you're telling it to me, and then you're also saying Facebook doesn't let me see
Google
stuff.
And them were all biased against any narrative that went against the grain of the mainstream media story. That's exactly what I said. I didn't say anything about Facebook.
Did you see this on Facebook?
Theory. You're taking my words and you're twisting them, buddy.
No, I'm not. I'm not twisting any words right now. I'm literally asking you a question because you said that Facebook is constantly biased and doesn't let you see the truth or whatever. But I'm asking you, did you hear this myth about the police? It doesn't say police on the license plate. That's weird. Did you see that on Facebook?
No, I actually researched that myself and kind of found it kind of odd that every police car that I've ever seen in my entire life had a metropolitan city license plate with a number. I've never seen a police car in my life that just said police.
This is exactly why we shouldn't.
I've never known a cop to walk out of his house with his uniform
a crooked badge. I know. You haven't met a lot of cops, obviously, because
an ambulance or two.
Dude, over here the thing is where I come from, over here, they always have their crooked badges. Actually, a crooked badge over here is sort of a symbol of like a good cop. So usually when I see a crooked badge, that usually means they're a good person. Like over here, an upside down badge means that you're like the fucking boss cop. Like you're the best.
Okay.
But this is exactly what.
Listen, every police officer has a uniform code that they have to wear. It's just like the military.
Every police officer has protocol they're supposed to follow too, and this guy didn't follow it when he kneeled on the dude's neck. Your argument is destroyed. It doesn't make sense. He didn't care about protocol, clearly.
No cop that I ever talked to said that they would let their partner
I'm gonna have to
man's neck for 8 minutes because they said
I'm hurting. You're hurting my brain right now. Stop.
Into a car and you're processed in jail. Because they don't want to deal with that.
This is why we don't form opinions based on personal experience, okay? Just because you've never met a cop that had a crooked badge, or just because you've never seen a license plate that's set, because you. This is what you just told me. You literally just said, I, in my life, have never met a cop that didn't have a crooked badge and didn't have a license plate without a number on it. And I'm telling... That's your personal experience. So I am telling you that you are invoking your personal experience, and that's why this is a flawed way to form arguments and any reasonable thought, is because just if you in your own experience haven't seen this doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So, for example, under Minnesota state law, police vehicles don't have to have a license plate. They can say police, right?
You got my number. You call me at 6 p.m. Central, and I will give me 30 minutes, and I will have absolute proof that George Floyd was a psyop. Are you scared?
What's that? Can you just give me a hint of what the absolute proof is, please?
Listen, I'll tell you. Now, this is my opinion.
But I thought you said it's absolute proof, so it shouldn't really be an opinion, right?
No, this is my opinion. Why they had to stage an event to cause racial division in this country. Because at the moment, with the administration we had, and the majority of blacks and the majority of Hispanics, we're seeing an all-time record low of unemployment and actually starting to see some unity in this country. They had to cause something to create a division. I mean, come on, dude. You know this divide and conquer. You don't think the powers that be want us to unite? Because they don't. They want us at each other's throats at every turn. Race, wealth, vaxxed, unvaxxed.
So
Come on now, dude.
some of this division is
did you ever see
just
a division of unvaxxed and vaxxed? Now
well.
they're trying to tell
No
people,
one's
oh,
telling
because
us to have
unvaxxed-
division. For example, there's there's division among like me and unvaxxed and anti-vax people because like the anti-vax people are stupid. So I argue with them and I tell them
in
that
your
they're stupid.
opinion.
No, not in
You
my
have no
opinion. They are
proof.
factually.
You have no proof that unvaxxed people are stupid.
Oh, I
Because
could.
you would
Yes,
have to
easily.
tally up-
I do
you
many
would have to
times. They have
tally
come
up
on here
IQ
repeatedly,
points,
and every time they
an average
kind of prove it
IQ
themselves.
of an anti-vaxxer versus a vaxxer, and to find out who's smarter or not.
So actually, it looks
Because
like
somebody-
a year after George Floyd. This sounds kind of cringy. This headline.
I
Hold
could
on.
even prove that George Floyd was at his own funeral.
So wait.
There's a
You're a
video of
psyop.
the
This is a
only
psyop.
man-
You're
the
a
only
psyop.
man- listen to
You're
me.
a psyop.
The only man.
This is-
the only man in
This is
George
what I'm getting
Floyd's
psyoped right now.
picture that
Are
had
you
a
the
mask and a
CNN?
black
Holy
hood
shit.
on, was 6 foot something tall and looked just like George Floyd.
So can I just let
And
you
he
know
was
something
at
really
his own
quickly because this
funeral.
is something else that I don't know if you're trolling at this point. I genuinely don't, but I'm gonna.
No, I mean, it's cool. How come there was an attorney
I can't. I'm having a hard
that
time
said
not
you
laughing right
handled
now. It's
George
just you're.
Floyd?
This is a meme. You're memeing on me right now. So let me give you a fact check,
I'm not
a reality
memeing.
check. You know what? We won't call it a fact check because you don't like that word. But
Memes happen with some truth.
yeah, I'll listen. Let me read this really quick, and then you can tell me the quote truth about how George Floyd was at his own fucking funeral. So,
Yeah, because he was
you
dressed in
realize
a
that
black hoodie
after.
and black-
Hold on,
black
excuse me,
face mask.
sir. Excuse me. I'm sorry, dude. You realize that after George Floyd's death, there was more unity among people. Support for Black Lives Matter soared last summer. So now we're actually
would
seeing
you
quote
call
white
Black Lives Matter
allyship, which I
and
think is kind of cringy,
reaching
but
their-
we're
reaching
seeing
their
this
scope?
but we're now starting to see unity dwindle because it was a year ago. It's starting to fade a little bit. So no, there was more unity after George Floyd's death, according to usnews.com.
Yeah,
So-
USnews.com.
Yep.
Mainstream media.
Yeah, I'm sure they're the psyop, right? Is it the CIA?
Okay, there wasn't a white lady mother that got shot in the head when she said all lives matter. That didn't happen either.
I don't know what you're talking about, but if you
You
said
don't-
it
you don't
happened,
know
then it
about the
probably
woman
didn't.
that was
But now you're
walking
kind
with-
of confusing me because
walking
you said it
with her
didn't happen, so I'm
boyfriend
wondering
and
if it
baby,
maybe did or if
and Black Lives Matter said Black Lives Matter. She said no, all lives matter, and they shot her dead.
that's super
That's
fucked up.
unity to you?
Did I
Why
say
don't
that
you
that
look
was
that up?
unity? That is extremely fucked up. Did I say that that is
That
unity?
fucked up.
Yeah, did I say that that is unity? No. There, of
Okay,
course,
listen.
has been
Here's what-
some
here's-
divides
here's
in the
what I
sense,
wanna
if
say.
anything, here's what's funny, though, is if the elites and everything are trying to control people, wasn't there a greater divide among, like, the people and the institutions? Like, it was more like unity among the people against the police, right? If they were wanting us all to be like complicit and compliant, then why would they do something that would lead to this level of animosity against police? That's really where the division was, right? With the riots and the
Okay, let me
incitement and
ask
everything
you
else.
Why is there certain politicians on Capitol Hill that all they want to do is
Wait, I asked you a question. Do you have an
Defund
answer
police.
for it, please? Or maybe an opinion based on your hard-hitting
Okay, go
evidence
ahead.
that you have?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
No, I asked you a question. I was wondering what.
Could you please repeat it? I lost it. My bad.
I'm wondering
What's your
why, if the elites are trying to get more people to be like complacent, right? Then why would they quote unquote do a psyop of George Floyd, which led to way more animosity against the police? Wouldn't they want more people to be like
Well,
in
Marty,
line
to
with the
be honest
police?
With you, I'm not a part of the elite, so I wouldn't really have an idea for the things that they do. But now, today, with the division of how you're trying to make unvaxxed second-class citizens, sort of how like the Nazis.
What does this
made
have
the
to do with the
Jews.
George Floyd thing? Are we moving past that? Have we conceded that it's not a psyop at least?
No, I'm going to say this. The powers that be have to keep us in division at all times.
What?
maybe
So,
at
okay,
that
wait, stop.
time of the
I need to know
George
who's in
Floyd
power.
event-
What are the powers that be?
Oh, you're talking about the Rockefellers, the Pacers, the Carnegies, the Mellons. Yeah, those guys.
Is
have
there
you ever heard
anything
of the
that holds all
Pacor
these
family?
people? Is there anything that holds all these, like, makes all these people similar in some way or another?
Well, they're the elites.
Is
They're
there
part of
something
the
that holds
13
all that makes
family.
all these elites similar in your opinion?
Hey, listen, I'll call you in a minute. Huh?
Is there anything with these elites that makes them all similar in your opinion? Anything that you think maybe their ethnicity is similar in some way or another?
Yeah, because they all run the same bloodline.
In
They
what
all- they-
way? Wait.
listen, if you
You're
wanna-
almost
if you wanna
almost
go
there.
back-
I'm pretty sure you're saying
Look,
what I
if
think
you-
you're
if
saying,
you
but I
wanna
kind of
go
like to hear
back
you say
to
it.
Ancient history. Look at the 13 nations of 13 nations. Okay, they had their own bloodlines. All right, and they wanted to keep their bloodlines pure and not let the common man distort their bloodline. Now, I'm just going off top of my
So
head.
what makes all these
okay?
elites? Okay, off the top of your head, what are you saying makes all these elites similar? Please tell me. What's the similar ethnicity if they all have the same bloodline?
Here's the thing: they all don't have the same, and they don't have all the same skin color.
I'm
because
not
the
saying they're same
13
skin color.
nations-
They're same. You're saying they have the same bloodline. Are you saying that?
I'll
Where's
tell
their
you- I'll tell
bloodline
you
from?
What their, I'll tell you what their one all main objective is.
What
New
is it?
World Order.
So
Now, you
what's
tell
so
me
they're one
a
of so there's there's
Tell me a
elites that
president-
control
tell me a
everything
US president-
that want to
Yeah.
have world control. What's the thing
Yeah.
that makes the elites similar? Please tell me. You're very close. I can tell you're walking away from it.
Like I said, they all come from the original 13 bloodlines. I mean, look, that's as far as I know. All I know is let me ask you this. Tell me one president in the U.S. since you've been alive, Hunter, that hasn't mentioned the words New World Order.
What does this have to do with the elites or with anything else?
Because that is their main goal.
So it sounds to me
Go
like
look at-
you've
go look
really
at the
fallen
Georgia
into.
Guidestones.
So it sounds to me like you've really fallen into kind of what is known around here as the JQ, right? So
No, it's not the JQ.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
do you know what the JQ is?
No, tell me, educate me, buddy.
All right, the JQ is the Jewish question, okay? And it's the idea that Jews control the world, or at least are trying to acquire world domination.
what?
And to me, it sounds like that's what you're saying. All the same bloodline, they all come from
No, because
Israel or whatever.
here's the
Like,
thing,
yeah,
man.
it sounds like what you're saying is that there's some kind
I
of
don't
Zionist,
have-
there's some kind of
I
Zionist
don't-
Jewish
no,
plot.
No.
That's what it
No,
sounds like
don't
you're
put
telling me
in
right
there
now.
Because I'm not anti-Jew.
I'm not saying you're well, that would by definition be anti-Semitic, but you can run away
I'm
from
not
it. But it sounds to
anti-Jew.
me like that's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying what's going on right now is they have one main goal, and that's the elitists. That's the 1% of the 1% that has more money than,
So Jeff Bezos,
Zuckerberg and Zuckerberg's money. Believe me, these elitists would burn Zuckerberg's money. Okay, go check out the Pacor family that owns everything in America that before the second and the third industrial revolution. Okay, now this is what I know. Their main objective is a new world order, and that is what you're seeing right now. You are seeing the introduction to the new world order.
so can you
Because
help me understand
why
a
do
little
you
bit more
have to
about who the
have
elites are and
papers-
like so Jeff Bezos then, you're saying? right?
Jeff Bezos
So
might be part of it, but he might
so
be the
Jeff Bezos
billionaire,
is trying
but
to lead the new world order by causing.
oh, Jeff Bezos ain't going to be leading it, buddy.
You help
That's
me
gonna be
understand
led
here,
by
though.
the
You're just
Antichrist.
help me understand a little bit of shit, please.
Okay, listen.
Break it down for me. Like
I'm gonna,
the
I'm
elites
I'm
are
gonna
wanting to
go,
sow.
I'm gonna
Like
go
I could
to
just as
religion,
easily.
and I hate debating on religion.
No,
I
wait,
hate
hold on, wait,
debating
because
of
I could.
religion.
Can I just tell you something really quick? Because I could just as easily say this back to you, right, and say, well, I think the elites are actually, I don't think that. I think that the elites are doing everything good, and they're actually just helping the world. I think that behind the scenes, they're just doing everything they can to make the world better because they want to make more money. You would have no like.
No, it's not about money. It's about.
But I
world
could say
control.
that, and it would be just as baseless and meaningless as what you just told me. Like, the elites are trying to sow a bunch of division for a new world order. If they want a new world order, wouldn't there
Yeah,
have to be
that's the
more
game plan.
unity?
No, because if we unite against them, if the common folk unite against them, we outnumber them billions to one, and they would never succeed.
You're
Do you
just
see what I'm
saying
getting at?
random things.
See,
No, you're just saying like
and
this.
I'm gonna go into a little bit of religion. Okay,
But
their
you didn't
main
explain any of the
objective
elites to me.
is-
Okay, so it's religious part too. Okay, got it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
if you study what the elites plan is, the New World Order, their main objectives, let me put objectives, is one, to create a new world order. That means they have control over all man, all common man. Go look at the Georgia Guidestones and read them. The very first thing the Georgia Guidestone says is to populate the earth to 500 million so the earth can be sustainable. Okay? How many people are on the earth now? What, 7, 8 billion? Okay, so that's a lot of depopulation they got to do. Then,
So it sounds to me like
this
what
is
you're
where it
telling
gets-
me is
this
actually
where
a.
it gets crazy.
Well,
This is where it gets
believe me,
crazy.
we've already gotten plenty crazy, my friend. But what
Okay,
this
this is
sounds
where
like
we
to
get
me is
crazy.
a very
Their
common
next
version.
objective is
It sounds like a twisted version of a very common conspiracy theory. Would you like to just like
how's the Georgia Guidestones?
have you ever just read like just
theory?
because have you ever just read the Wikipedia page on like the New World Order quote
Dude,
conspiracy theory?
Wikipedia. You know Wikipedia is controlled by the CIA.
The common
think
theme
put that
in
out
conspiracy
there?
theories about a new world order is that a secretive power elite with a globalist agenda is conspiring to eventually rule the world through an authoritarian one world government, which will replace sovereign
Okay.
nation states. So does this play in with
Oh, have
some?
you- have
Let me guess.
have
Wait.
you
With the
listened- have
religious
you
thing, does this
listened to
play in with
George
the end?
Soros?
Does this play in with the end times at all?
Yeah, because as before you cut me off, I was going to say that their second objective is to stop the second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. Now you think
So yeah, what
yeah,
this is
that's
this
kinda
is this like this is almost
Because
acting as
they
if all of
know-
history has some form of like just like unique sort of like story that it's trying to tell, and that's just not the case. Like usually history it just occurs throughout random events.
Now,
There are
see,
wars,
let me ask you
there are
something.
economic downfalls. This doesn't
you,
like
Are you Jewish? Are you a practicing Jewish? I mean,
No.
if that offends you.
No, it
are
doesn't
you a
offend me.
practicing Jew?
no.
Do you know? The only difference between a Christian and a Jew, a Gentile and a Jew, is the fact that Christians believe that Jesus was the Son of God, and Jews believe that he was only a prophet. Am I correct?
Okay. Sure.
Am I correct?
You're correct
Okay.
to my knowledge.
Now, there's also a big movement that Jews are starting to believe that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. Jews, I can't remember the organization that's been doing it, but even though in the end, Jews and Christians know that there will be a second time in this world that God will come back and take his people, Jew and Christian. Now, Muslims, if they believe in Allah and they're a good Muslim, and they don't believe in the Taliban atrocities about killing Christians and stuff, I think they'll go to. I won't say nothing bad about my Muslim brothers and all that stuff either. I think that they'll go to. They'll go with God too. They will go to heaven. I'm not saying anything bad about that. Buddhists too.
So could it
actually,
be
Buddhists are the most peaceful people. But anyways, I'm saying though, there has to be a one world order, and this is what the elites want. Have you heard of the Great Reset, where their main ad slogan is "You own nothing and you'll like it"? Have you heard of that? What do you think that is, Hunter? It's part of the New World Order.
so
It's just candy coated. It's candy coated.
Okay. So is it possible that maybe like the world is just changing and the world is developing and you're trying to kind of make sense of that? And it's easier. Here's the thing. Hold on. I want to try to explain something to you. And I'm not saying that you're doing this, okay? Because obviously I'm in no place to like psychoanalyze you or whatever. But generally speaking, humans are very good and very talented at You there?
I'll call you. Yeah, I'm there. Go ahead.
All right. Humans tend to be very good at recognizing patterns, okay? But the world is unpredictable at the end of the day. So sometimes during unpredictable times, we try to look at patterns and we see patterns even if they're not actually there. At the end of the day, the world is just moving really at random and is at will to economic collapse, war. There are all kinds of different issues that cause different things to happen, some being systemic inequalities like what we're seeing in America right now. Like, these things happen, and I fear for you, my friend, that you're trying to make sense of this unpredictable time by seeing patterns where they're not really there, and then trying to construe it into this narrative that there's this conspiracy to control. It's just a psyop. It's not. And at the end of the day, that is a conspiracy theory, one. And two, it sounds like a massive cope.
Hold on 1 second, Hunter. Hey, listen, let me ask you something. The Vietnam War, the Battle of Tonkin, was that proved to be a conspiracy?
I don't know about all these things, but I don't think we should move to a new topic yet until you address what I said.
No, I'm asking you because this is important. Because this has to deal about our government when our government's doing. Because
you're kind of pivoting all over the place now. Hold on. No. We're not going that route. I don't want to go that route, and I don't want to go that direction. We're not going to, because you haven't even addressed at all what I've said. So, do you think that it's possible that maybe you're just trying to cope with a lot of what's going on in the world? For example, it'd be a lot easier to believe that the thing that happened with George Floyd was just a psyop, because I too would rather believe that than believe that our police are actually capable of doing something that horrible. But at the end of the day, that did happen. It is reality, and unfortunately, it's indicative of a systemic issue. It's an ongoing problem, actually.
Hey, listen, I don't ask any police officer to do anything nowadays, because believe me, I'm not against the blue, but I believe that there should be police reform. I definitely a believer in that, okay? Because I grew up in the 80s, and in the 80s, our police, they lived in our neighborhoods. We knew who the police are.
Right.
That's one big problem, is police don't police the communities they live in.
Right.
So they don't know the people that they have to go up against.
All right, we're finding common ground here. Did you vote for wait, did you vote for Joe Biden?
I didn't vote for anybody.
Oh, okay, because this is actually a Joe Biden thing. Joe Biden's going to do that. He wants to
No. Listen.
Yeah, that's actually this is cool. I feel like we actually find some common ground here. I'm sorry that you didn't vote, but
I'm a constitutionalist. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat.
Yeah,
I'm a constitutionalist.
So, then the good news is that Joe Biden does, it's my understanding that he plans on doing something like that. So, that's dope.
And you know what?
Based Biden.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
Because what he's done so far let me ask you this.
But don't you think a constitutionalist,
why
like,
is
why do you
there-
think, if you're a constitutionalist, why are you so, like, do you really think that all of this shit is just like the CIA psyop bullshit? Like, come on, man. It sounds like
No, this is deeper than the CIA, buddy.
this goes back
This,
to what
like I
I was
told you,
saying,
this
is do
isn't
you think that
illegal.
it's, so why do you think that that's more believable? So let me explain something to you, okay? Your position is there's actually this big undercover conspiracy, okay? I don't have any proof of it yet. You can have to call me at 6 o'clock to see the proof. But there's this actually huge fucking conspiracy theory that's under the covers, okay? And they are fucking controlling the world. They're trying to sow racial division, and the elites are trying to control this, and this is all happening, bro. Just trust me, okay? That's your version, more or less. And then my version, more or less, is, well, what happened to George Floyd was a blatant example of what's actually borne out statistically and throughout history, which is data points indicating that this is a systemic problem with police brutality disproportionately negatively affecting black people. And this is something that's been ongoing, okay? And so it makes more sense to someone like me when I see these things happen, because I say, hey, this is indicative of an underlying issue that I'm more or less aware of, but this brought a lot of people together on it. You see? So it just, I feel like my version of this makes sense. It's borne out empirically. We had a court literally find the dude guilty, and then you have like all this stuff that's basically just backed up on like, trust me, bro.
Okay. Give me 2 minutes, okay? Now, the mainstream media, I'm going to go back to this. Did the mainstream media get busted showing a emergency room that was in Italy and tried to pass it off as an emergency room in New York when COVID-19 was coming around?
What does this have to do with Floyd?
No. But just go with me. Give me 2 minutes and follow along with me. All right? Now,
okay. Try to make it one
now. Did the mainstream
now.
media show you a gun show? A gun show finale that was shot in Kentucky and tried to pass it off as the Turks, and it was the Turkish invading it was invasion of the Turks to some Middle East country, okay? Now they got busted doing that too. Now, let me ask you this. There's 5 people that runs all the media in the United States, all the mainstream media in the United States. There's 5 corporations that run all the media. And you know what's hilarious? Fox News is controlled opposition. And you know how I know this? Because when Newt Gingrich brought up the name George Soros, the 2 news anchors shut him up immediately. Said, oh, no, we don't need to be talking about him. When if you go back and you look at George Soros, he's the one who funds Antifa. He's the one who funds Black Lives Matter.
So you realize that the reason that people oftentimes don't want to... Now, I don't even know if what you just told me is true. And thus far, everything you've told me hasn't been. So I'll just take your word for it, though, for the sake of the debate. But, like, the reason they probably didn't... The reason that they probably didn't want to get into... that is because oftentimes people do bring up George Soros in an anti-Semitic context. Now, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, and I'm not even saying that's necessarily what Newt Gingrich was doing. We'd have to see the clip to fully understand the full context of it, right? But that's a very easy and more reasonable explanation. Hold on. Do you see that that's a more do you see that that's a more reasonable Hold on. Do you see that is a much more reasonable approach than George Soros is actually controlling Fox News? It's controlled opposition. It's all just trying to, like, really?
Yeah, Fox News is controlled opposition. Because you can't have the same opinion on every single network, because common men would kind of figure that out. Be like, hey, man, every news source is saying the same thing. We don't have any kind of thing saying the opposite. Do you see where I'm getting at?
No. A lot of the times there are anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that coincide with George Soros because he's Jewish, and so people say that he's like controlling all these Democrat Democrat movements. He controls Antifa and all this bullshit.
How can you be a Jew and be a Nazi and work for the Nazis? How?
I didn't.
Because he traded on his own people.
When did I said that oftentimes that could have been a reason. All right, I'm going off the top of my head here, trying to give you an explanation as to why maybe they said, well, we don't really need to talk about that right now. Because oftentimes George Soros is associated, especially when you bring it up in certain contexts, can be associated with anti-Semitic tropes. And that could have been a reason why. I'm not saying that is the reason why, but I still think that that makes more sense just off the top of my head than they're all controlled. It's controlled opposition. Look at da-da-da-da-da. Like, and plus, I'd like to actually take a step back from this. Maybe you can accuse me of pivoting, but actually it's like we've already pivoted back into like the bleachers and now we're jumping back into the ring, okay? So let's get back to the George Floyd thing because none of this has proven anything. I will give you this. Because thus far this has been like babbling. So let me try to construct what I understand your argument to be more or less. So the government has done some fucked up shit in the past to their own people. There have also been some conspiracies in the past that have been proven to be true as far as the stuff the government has done. Is that thus far? Okay, sure. We can agree on that. However, just if that is true, does not mean that George Floyd specifically is a conspiracy and in somehow a psyop to sow racial division, when in reality it actually led to more unity for quite some time. So not sure how that really even worked out. Maybe the plan backfired and you knew better, but I don't know. Either way. Yeah.
Was the Black Lives Matters riots, was that unity when they burned down churches and businesses in their own, in their own
No, that was really fucked
unity?
up. Thankfully, there are two things here. One, that was the minority of the groups. Most of the Black Lives Matter protests were proven statistically to be peaceful. Second of all, if you want to fix riots, you have to address the underlying causes. What causes the riots? What causes looting? I don't condone it. It's not good. If I saw someone rioting that I knew, I would go up to them and say, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. And I would probably, I would literally curse them out. I think that it's douchey behavior, okay? But if people are already to the point where they're rioting and they're looting, they probably don't care so much if they're being douchey or if people on the conservatives are going to think they're being bad or whatever. They probably don't care. Instead, we have to fix the underlying problem. Riots and looting occur because of civil unrest, and civil unrest happens when cops kill black people. And again, it did lead to unity, broadly speaking, throughout America, but it doesn't mean that you didn't see some communities still torn apart individually, especially, by the rioting, by the looting.
Let me ask you something seriously. How come the news, the mainstream media, only shows you when black lives are being spent by police, when you don't ever see stories of white people being killed by cops, when FBI statistics show that more white people are killed by police than black?
So do you think that the reason that more white people are killed than black people
No, this is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is why the mainstream media pushes white cop killing black man more than cop.
Well, I think that we might be able to find some common ground in the sense that when the media being, wanting to make money at the end of the day, these stories do tend to be a little bit more sensationalist. And it also does lead to, there are people that, get a little bit more upset about this kind of shit. So it's sort of hold on, wait, you didn't even give me a, hold on, wait.
Go ahead.
Because it's kind of like a mix of things here. It's almost like a vicious cycle, right? So like a cop kills a black person, right? So the people in the local community get mad. They share the video online. The video goes viral. More people get mad. Then Fox News talks about it because more people are mad. So you might be able to argue that there's disproportionate outrage, generally speaking, when it's a black person. But again, that's because it's indicative of an underlying systemic issue, one. And two, there are absolutely times that Like, Black Lives Matter would be in favor of police reform if it were white people being killed also. I don't want to see anybody getting killed by police at the end of the day. I recognize, though, that sometimes it's necessary and it has to happen. Like if someone's obviously like a public threat, like a school shooter or something.
Okay.
But lastly, when you look at those statistics and say more white people are killed than black people, there are way more white people in the country. Of course, more white people are ultimately going to be killed. But when you look at how black people are actually a great minority in this country, and then you look at the rates of police violence among black people, what it is it's disproportionate among black people, and that's the problem.
Okay, I'm going to take 2 steps back, and I'm going to ask you a very, very important question, okay? What do you think is the main problem with the black community?
You want me to pick one?
Yeah, what do you
I think one of the biggest problems for the black community has definitely been like systemic racism, which I guess is pretty vague and is not just one thing, but
Nah, I'll tell you what it is, and
the
no
lack of black fathers.
About it. Exactly. Did you know in 1972 the rate of single motherhood in the black community was at 25%, and 10% of those were because they were Vietnam War widows?
So
why has the black community gone from 27% to damn near 80% today?
Sure, so I'll let you know.
Today's statistics.
I'll tell you, because there were different policies that were put in place that eventually made it so that, hold on, so what do you mean by who? There was the Great Society Act or whatever, right?
What political party?
Oh, the Democrats. So wait, are you saying there was a system? Wait, are you saying the Democrats put a policy in place that negatively impacted the black community? That sounds like systemic racism to me.
No, because you know what they did? They created the welfare state. They told black mothers, hey, you can have as many children as you want. Don't worry about the father.
That's not what they told them. That's not what they told them at all. So what
Listen,
happened was,
I
hold on,
know
let
a
me
guy-
explain
I
this
know
to you
an
really
old
quickly.
man.
Is I know that you know people, but that what happened really is you did see rates of single motherhood go up. That's true. But part of that is because now there were incentives so that women could leave. In some cases, these husbands were abusive. And you know what? You can go back just as easily and look at the rates of marital rape, marital abuse before women were able to have any incentive to even survive on their own without a man.
You're trying to go to the argument about abortion, about rape and incest, when abortion.
I didn't even
rape and
say
incest
anything
are
about abortion. What are you
contributing
talking
to
about
2%.
right now?
No, I'm talking about how you're looking at this. Do you think every man was abusive to their wife?
No, not every man, but I'm saying that now
Well,
that
give me a percentage.
I
Give me a
don't know the
of
percentage, nor do I
1980.
need to give you one to prove my overall argument.
But you're
What I'm
sitting there
saying is
saying-
that what I'm saying is that now that there are new incentives in place, and that now that women are actually able to survive without a man, because at the time in the early 1900s, in the early 1900s, you needed a man virtually to survive in society, right? More or less, like that was almost necessary. But now women have more freedom, women have more autonomy, and sometimes that's like and that almost that obviously allows women, if they are in a bad relationship, to be able to leave if they need. You don't know how many of them, like, what's your proof that now they're like, haha, now I can just get rid of the husband and have as many kids as I want. Like, do you really think that's what happened?
No, let me speak.
Sure.
Now you know what this created? This created the MGTOW movement, where men are saying, you know what? We know what's up with women because we can get married. All they got to do is say, we want a divorce, which 70% of women do. It's factual. And guess what? They're going to take half your money. 80% of them are going to take your kids away.
So
And
because
then-
marriages
this
get
created the MGTOW movement. And why are so many women crying that they can't find a man?
Oh my God, what are you talking about? Are you okay right now? Do you want to talk? Are you going through a tough divorce right now?
What democratic policies in the 70s has created? It created fatherless homes.
So
That's
are you
number
saying
one.
there was a policy that was quick question. Are you saying there was a policy put in place by the Democrats that disproportionately negatively affected the black community?
Yes.
So then you believe that there could be systemic racism. So then you believe in systemic racism. You realize that's systemic racism, right? So do you believe in systemic racism then?
I'll tell you what I really believe in.
Because that is literally systemic racism. You just agreed to that.
There is racism in everybody. Everybody has a
I'm
little bit of
asking you if you think that specific thing is systemic racism. You just admitted that it's a policy by the Democrats that negatively hurt black people. So
Then if that is the definition of systemic racism, yes, then it's systemic racism.
Okay, thank you. So then we would probably be able to agree on a lot of other things that are systemic racism then too, going forward. How about the drug war, for example? If we want to talk about the lack of fathers, we can talk.
The drug war? Oh, that was all racist. That was cocaine because of the blacks, marijuana because of the Mexicans, heroin and opium
So
because
that
of the
was
Chinese.
Okay, so you're almost with me here. So that was a policy again that was put in place intentionally that time with intentions specifically to be racist. Do you think that was systemic racism?
Well, okay, let's go to Joe Biden's 94 crime policy.
Yes, that could absolutely have.
All you had to do was have a couple 20 crack rocks in your pocket, and you was doing 5 to 10 years.
Sure, yeah. Joe Biden, I'm pretty sure, has
That was Joe
apologized for
Biden,
that.
wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure Joe Biden has apologized for that. And you know what? That was something that disproportionately negatively affected black people. That would have been contributing to systemic racism. Absolutely.
You're right. Look,
but but wait, I think that maybe you don't understand what you mean with systemic racism, because we said at the beginning here, you said, give me the one biggest downfall of black people. And I said systemic racism, even though I know that's vague and really broad and isn't really one thing, but that's the best I can do. And so I'm telling you, and then you said, no, it's the lack of black fathers in the house. So now, no. Then you said, no. You said, then it's the lack of black fathers. That's the real downfall. And actually now it sounds like we agree. Part of the reason that there is a lack of fathers is because of the drug war, because of these drugs being so heavily criminalized. A lot of these black fathers are locked up in prison. Black people are also disproportionately in our prison system. So that would be systemic racism directly. So we agree, right? So systemic racism sounds like it's really the biggest downfall, right?
Listen, I will agree that it was systemic policies that took fathers out of the home, but it's the fact that these children, these black youth, are growing up without fathers in the home.
Sure. So maybe we can fix some policies here by getting rid of the heavily criminalizing drugs.
Discipline. They have basically, and you know what the biggest thing is it took the provider and the protector out of the home. And that's
You're right.
why.
That's
and
really fucked up.
Another thing is the education that the black youth are getting.
So why do you think the
education that they need to get?
We agree here. Yes. So why do you think the education's bad?
It's poor teachers.
Poor teachers, poor education, poor funding in the school, right?
I go on to teachers because it's up to the individual. You know what I say?
Well, no, it's not just up to the individual too. It's also, think about schools that are like.
If your kid, listen, if your child, I know you just had a child. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I know that. Listen, if growing up, if your kid knows and I can't remember, is it a boy or girl?
I have a girl and a boy.
Okay. Well, congratulations on both.
Thank you.
Growing up, if your kids know their teacher's politics, then you know that teacher is not right for your kid.
Wait, okay, hold on. This is irrelevant to anything. So with the education stuff, let's talk a little bit about the why you, because you're right. We agree here on the education is really bad a lot of the times in these communities. So why is the education bad, generally speaking? Well, probably a lack of funding, right?
Honest,
Maybe partially. Hold on. Do you think we could agree? Hold on. Hold on. Do you think that we could? Hold on. Do you think that we could agree, perhaps, that lack of funding could partially play a role? Because what's going to motivate a teacher really to work super hard, slaving away to make a curriculum, directing a class with 20 to 25 kids, all while they're getting paid what they feel is like really not enough to barely live on, right? So don't you think that maybe greater funding would help a little bit?
No, I'm going to tell you why, okay?
Really? You don't think better funding would help at all?
Unbeknownst to you, I coached football for 12 years, and I coached kids, I coached middle school, and I coached some semi-pro ball. And when I was coaching kids, I was getting paid jack shit. And I made sure that every single one of my players left when they were done playing for me a better football player than they were before they stepped in.
What does this
now
have to do with anything?
I believe that it's up to the individual teacher.
So now let's say, okay, great. So let's say that it's now your job, okay, to coach football all day. All right, you have a 9-to-5 job coaching football with those young kids all day long. Okay, and you're only paid like $14 an hour. I don't know how much teachers are paid, but think about that, right? You probably wouldn't be as incentivized to do that all day, right? So again, we're come on, dude. Bite this bullet. No. You said, come on.
No, because
stop.
I love football and I love teaching. So to me, doing something that I love and enjoy.
And what if you're going to get foreclosed on because you're not paid enough?
Look, I live in Nashville, okay?
No, I know you live in that. No, stop. You're okay. Do you realize you sound like a robot right now, malfunctioning, dude? I'm like, do you understand why this doesn't make sense what you're saying? And you're like, beep. So back to default. I live in Nashville. We know you live in Nashville. This is irrelevant to anything. We can both agree that better funding.
Cost of living here.
No, we're talking about the fact that better funding is ultimately going to help these schools greatly improve. I know that at the end of the day, if you were forced into doing a job, or if you had a job that you really did, maybe you really did love the job, but it wasn't paying enough to support your bills, that would be a really tough spot to be in and would definitely not incentivize you to be the best teacher you possibly could. So what I'm saying is we both agree that the
teaching communism ideas.
Right. So we'll get to the communism ideas in a second. But what I'm saying is that better education, we both agree, is necessary. And the reason that the education is lacking in these communities is because of a lack of funding. And that funding comes from taxpayer dollars. So it's also because Black people disproportionately live in poverty, right? So since Black people are disproportionately poor, that means that Black people's local schools paid by their tax dollars are obviously going to be disproportionately lower quality. They just won't be able to afford certain things.
Okay.
You can literally look at the difference of some schools that have like iPads for their kids, and then some schools where it's like they can barely afford like lunches for the kids. Like you have to try to look outside your own bubble, your own personal experience here.
Okay, let me go back to what I was saying. The average income for a single parent in the United States, the average income for a single parent in the United States is roughly $37,000 a year. The average income for a two-parent home is roughly $80,000 a year. So where are you getting the lack of funding from? Mostly from single-parent houses.
Yeah, and we already went over.
Okay, you just admitted it.
But
so it goes back
of course,
to the
single parents aren't going to make as much, and you have a disproportionate amount of single motherhoods, but we already agreed that was because of systemic racism. So you're just proving my point again. Yes, that plays a role on top of the poverty thing. Yes, this all plays a role. Congratulations. That's why I agreed with you. Why are you acting like this is a win? You just made my point back to me.
No, I'm trying to get my point across. So saying that if a black child is born in a wedlock home with a mother and a father, that proportionally they are way, way better off than born in a single mother household.
I'm not denying this. Of course, two parents are better than one.
So,
Duh.
So going back to systemic racism, if they had more money, that means they're out of what they could possibly feel from that systemic racism because they're in a two-parent household.
So why do they not have a two-parent household?
Huh?
So there's a lack of black fathers. We already acknowledged this. Part of the reason for that is the drug war, which disproportionately leads to these black fathers getting locked up for committing crimes in the area, which again is a vicious cycle because they're also living in disproportionate amounts of poverty.
Okay, Hunter,
and because of that, there's disproportionate
How
amounts
do
of
we
crime.
end that
For
cycle?
someone who is so
is your
set on
solution?
looking into this nuance for why the George Floyd killing was a psyop, you seem strangely surface level and very shallow when it comes to this. Like, obviously, two parents is better than one, but we already acknowledged that part of the reason that there is a lack of two-parent households in these black communities is due to policies like the drug war, which was intentionally racist. Therefore, it was systemic racism. So yes, that on top of the fact that they are living in poverty disproportionately leads to black people having poorer education oftentimes. So it is a vicious cycle that, again, goes back to what I said. Systemic racism is the biggest problem. That's what we really should be talking about. And it's so far, everything
So
you've
what
told
is
me
your
about
solution?
is systemic racism.
What's your solution?
Well, there are various different things we can do. So for one, we need to make it so that it's more affordable to get married. So what's funny is a lot of the times in these black communities, although when you look at like tax records, you're going to see that there's like a higher rate of single motherhoods, and there is still a disproportionate amount of single moms in those areas, I believe. But that number oftentimes is significantly inflated because a lot of the times the father is actually still in the home. They're just not married. So statistically, they're a single mom, the way that they're like counted, right? But obviously the child is being raised with two parents in that household. And part of the reason I think we see that is just because it costs money even to just like get like a marriage license. It's like, isn't it like $50 to $100 or something? $80? Yeah.
It was
Dude,
$80 for me to get married.
how much? $80?
It was $80 for a marriage.
That's
license
not,
when I got
honestly,
married.
I don't, that's just not that cheap at the end of the day. I'm sorry. If I wanted to get married, like if I had to spend $80 on the fly, I would not be too happy about that. And I just think that,
Well, dude, I'm a master electrician. I was making $29 an hour at that time.
yeah, so that might not be a big
$80
deal for
wasn't
you,
that
but in
much.
someone who's already living in poverty, that might be really challenging all of a sudden. If you're like, dude, I've only got $80 left in my bank account right now. We need this for groceries. Obviously, that would
Okay,
come
but
first,
yeah,
right? So
But
so $80, I think we
but
can
hear me
acknowledge
out.
is still probably a little overpriced. So that's one of the ways we could fix it right there. Boom. Cut away the costs of getting a
Okay.
marriage license. We'd probably see an uptick right there, just statistically, with two-parent households and a decrease in single motherhood. There's one way we could do it. We can also invest in those areas. We can give tax breaks to businesses that set up there so that we can open up jobs in the area to start bolstering the local economy.
You
and
kind of sound like Donald Trump, what he did.
Donald Trump did have some decent ideas on that. Sure. I
No,
never have denied this, but
Donald
unfortunately it didn't work the way that he wanted it
Okay.
to, if you look at
Sound
it.
like Donald Trump there. Okay.
Okay, I've acknowledged that there's yeah, I like Donald Trump's thing with Project Warp Speed too. Yeah. Some things that Donald Trump had the right idea, but unfortunately it didn't really work as intended, considering the fact that I think it went to just like bolster. There would have to be, listen, I'm not a policy expert, so this is kind of like the general idea. Like, I know that it can work, but there was an issue with the way that Donald Trump rolled it out, that it basically led to just like apartment complexes being built that were way too overpriced, and it didn't actually lead to like increasing jobs in the area, which is what it's supposed to do, not just because there's also like the issue of gentrification there too. But if done right, that is absolutely a way that you could go to fix some of those issues there too. For example, Joe Biden already is going to be investing $20 billion into this one black community that was impacted by this highway that was put up. That was actually a perfect example, by the way, of systemic racism. A highway that's put up, you're thinking, okay, that's obviously not racist. It's a highway, but the highway was put through the middle of this black neighborhood that actually split up the community and harmed the overall community greatly. It literally cut out like local businesses in the area, and it really harmed black people disproportionately. So at the end of the day, that highway, even if people are just thinking, hey, here's a good place to put a highway, it's still actually systemic racism because it's something that harmed black people disproportionately.
Well, hold on a second. I thought anytime the state or the federal government wants to put a highway in, they have to buy your house and buy your property.
I don't know all the details about this one, but I know that the way the highway was put in, it greatly impacted this black community. So in order to ameliorate that problem, Joe Biden's going to be investing $20 billion in that community. So that's kind of an example of what I was... So that's kind of what I was getting at earlier in what I was saying, is that investing in these areas, if done right, can be a really beneficial way as well. So there are two ways that I think that you can lead to fixing some of these problems.
I think I agree with you on making to do policies that avert from benefiting from a single mother to a two-parent house. I do agree with you there.
Well, of course that would be beneficial. Yeah, I'm not denying that at all.
I think, listen, me personally, my parents were split when I was 6, but my mother never told my father he couldn't see me. I mean, I was bustled around between my mom and my dad.
Dad was in jail, dude.
For 2 years, so I knew my dad.
Imagine if your dad was in jail, though.
With boys, and you can see this in today's. I'll tell you what's a really great book you might want to read. It's called The War on Boys. I can't remember the author, but it's a really great book, The War on Boys. All right? Now, with boys in society today, see, there's one thing, and I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash. Listen, I was raised by a single mother. I have nothing. I actually married a single mother. All right? Didn't work out, but so what? You know, whatever. It's for the best. But here's the thing. When it comes to boys, a mother cannot give a boy validity of being a man like a father or a father figure can do when that boy gets to be of age.
So
just
this
like
is actually
the Jewish religion has.
Can I cut in really quickly? Because so here's the thing: is I again will agree with you that 2 parents is usually better than 1. Okay, so 2 parents is usually better, but I kind of disagree with this. Like, the woman can't give him, like, because you could actually look at gay couples, for example, and this completely disproves it. So, like, children rape, but
what do you
children
know about periods and menstrual cycles?
So children, for example, that are raised by gay parents, lesbian parents, gay parents, whatever, fare just as well, right? So there doesn't seem to be this, like, intrinsic necessity that, like, there must be one masculine figure and one strictly feminine figure. Like, you know what I mean?
The percentage of gay marriages that raise kids is such a low percentage in society.
Well,
it's not.
What do you mean? There have been studies all around the world that have been done. I mean, it might be of course, it's probably a lower rate because a lot of the times they're discriminated against, but there have been studies done. What?
That a child, it's true that studies show a child that is raised by a gay couple or a gay married couple turn out high percentage being heterosexual, being intelligent, and all that. I agree with that. That is nothing against the gay community, nothing against them. But the fact is, what you're doing is you're throwing up a small percentage of what is society. Just like I went back with abortion being, well, rape and incest is only 2% of all total abortions. 98% of it is done from convenience.
Well, that's not completely true. But again, we could talk about that. This is really greatly off subject. I just think, we've been talking for a little bit of a little long time now.
We went around the bases.
It might be
We
time
went
to
around
just,
the
it
bases.
does sound like, we found sort of like, the thing is that it's very, I know that other people have said this too, but I'm going to say this because I think it's important for you to hear, but it's very easy to agree on problems, but agreeing on solutions is a lot more challenging, right? And I feel as if I have tried to offer you a holistic view of ameliorating some of these problems. We can get into it more, but like we've also managed to kind of pivot all over the place, considering the fact that
We did. We went around the horn.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't really think that George Floyd was a psyop. I don't think that there's some kind of evil new world order.
Well, let me ask you this. If you were to call me tonight at 6 o'clock, give me 30 minutes and I'll give you the proof.
Okay. Give me the proof. But can we
You
at
got
least
my
can we at least find
I
some
don't give a shit.
can we at least find some common ground then on the systemic racism thing? It sounds like we kind of agree on what systemic racism is and what the effects of it are and that we want to fix it.
I totally believe that there is policies in government that promote systemic racism to keep a certain segregated group down. I agree with that. That is what I agree with you on. Yes.
So there are some
is
policies
systemic
that have
racism.
negatively impacted black people. Right?
Yes.
And that would
And
be
white
systemic.
people, too.
And so long as that's the definition we're going by, that you would agree that that is systemic racism.
That's what I will agree on. Yes,
Cool.
there is certain
All right, cool.
policies.
I didn't know if this conversation was going to end with me like hanging up on you and yelling at you or actually coming to like a decent agreement. I do think that you're a little bit lost in the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, but we might be able to talk about that a little bit more at another time.
I told you, brother. You call me at 6. You call me at 6
You don't.
p.m.
Yeah.
Central.
Yeah.
I'll have your proof.
Okay, I might be able to. I'm not sure where what I'll be. I might be with my kids at
I
the
tell
time,
you
but
what. I tell you what. You have my number. Send
maybe
me a
we can
text
talk
message.
again next stream or something. Okay, or maybe like I don't know. Who knows? We'll
Just
see what
let me
happens.
know,
all right?
brother. And I will wholeheartedly go back to my research that I've done, and I'll show you my talking points to show you that George Floyd was a psyop.
All right, gotcha. Thanks, man.
Hey, Hunter, listen, I ain't got nothing against you, brother. I ain't got nothing against you.
I don't have nothing against you. I
Yeah.
just don't like your
And
ideas.
I just want
But
to let you know that, well, you know what? Here's the thing. When you take time
hey,
to sit
Dan,
down
1,
with
2, 3,
somebody
get in my
that's trying
Discord
to
right
tell
fucking
you
now.
something
You
and
have
that's
3
willing to
seconds.
show you,
All right,
instead of being
I'm talking to you
arrogant,
next.
then you should say, okay, I'll take the 30 minutes and I'll sit down. And if you can show me without a shadow of a doubt, just like a courtroom, that what I'm saying or what that person's saying is the truth,
No,
you should.
I'm
take
sorry.
that
I
opportunity.
cannot. I will. There. It is physically impossible for me not to
Listen,
make fun of the
married
idea
with
that the
2
George
kids,
Floyd thing was
I
a complete
understand,
psyop.
brother.
We already
Fine.
agree on systemic racism. Why is it so hard to agree that like maybe black people have been disproportionately harmed by cops also? Like what? I just oh well. But either way,
No,
man, I really
no,
appreciate you you coming on, all right?
That's another debate, but I'm just going to say that it was really a great conversation. I'm glad we did see some common ground on a few things, and that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't all at each other's throat, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, all right?
Yeah,
I'll
you
talk
have a
to you
great
later,
day,
all right?
man. Like I said, my invitation to show you about George Floyd is open anytime you want.
I might call you next stream, all right? But
That's
either way,
fine.
whenever I call
And
you,
I'll
just
tell
be
you what,
aware that I
I'll
will
have
be
that-
recording,
I'll
all
have that
right?
proof for you.
But yeah. All right, man. I look forward to seeing the proof that it
Brother,
was a
you have a
psyop.
great day, man.
See ya, man.
God bless. All right, bye-bye.
That was a wild conversation, but it was well worth it and very fun. All right, where's Dan? Fuck you, Dan. Get in here now. I'm on the Discord. What's your username? Is it Dank? Dan, tell me your general username on the Discord. Hold on, did I get a message from you? Yeah. All right, I'm call. Yo. Is this Dan123?
Yeah, it's Dan123.
All right, man. So what's going on? You're talking mad shit in my chat.
Yeah, I disagree with you, man.
About the systemic racism stuff?
Yeah, it's not the main cause of, like, you're saying, like, fatherlessness and whatever.
Okay, how is it not?
How is it not? Dude, if you look at how they're designing society, unfortunately, I believe in people are designing society, you know, and they want black people to be thugs. They want black people to be like a revolutionary class in America to destroy society.
Okay. Grandpa, thanks for the bedtime story, but whatever the fuck you just rambled is irrelevant to me and means nothing. You've said nothing to me. This was not an argument. The fact that so no, again, systemic racism directly plays a role in the disproportionate lack of black fathers in the home. Now, even if we want to talk about the Great Society Act having some negative outcomes with single motherhood, again, by a Democrat, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, that would be systemic racism also. I don't see how we can't just agree that this is not systemic racism here that's causing this issue. Because you were saying in chat too that it's just thug culture, bruh.
Yeah, it's thug culture that is pushed by the media, by banks. If you don't see that, dude, if you are a thug and you want to like sling drugs, that's promoted in the media. And if you're a father and okay, that's not cool. I understand that's not cool. But why is there such a pressure to promote this lifestyle? You know?
Again, because of systemic racism, partially.
No.
Yes.
I agree.
Why is there disproportionate amount of drug use and gang violence in black communities? Well, because of the drug war, which is systemic racism. So yes. What do you mean?
No, the drug war.
And when you're talking about like media portrayal of black people, there's a lot of controversy about that actually, because people complain about that. People on the left actually complain about that a lot, about how media only portrays black people as looking like criminals or thugs or whatever, when that's not the case. But there also is a conversation to be had about the disproportionate rates of criminality and gang violence and drug use in these areas, again, all leading back to systemic racism. So it's not just thug culture.
I don't believe it's all. I agree there is a factor of systemic racism. Black people are more are arrested in higher rates for drug offenses. I'm not that sure black people use more drugs than white people, for instance.
I don't think they do.
I believe, dude, I've lived in a hood. I lived in Brazil in a favela. I'm really white. Dude, there's a lot of anti-white racism as well, but this isn't discussed. Okay,
well, this is in Brazil, so this is there's a little bit of a divide there. Obviously, I don't want anyone to experience racism, and if you are white, you shouldn't be bullied for being white. That would be really ridiculous. But again, let's get back to the thug culture thing. So where do you think this sort of thug culture comes from? Are you talking about one real life thug culture, or are you talking about like media portrayal? Because if you're talking about media portrayal, then that's like, yeah, that's a common conversation that people have.
Media portrays reality, but they could portray other
not in like movies
of
though.
Reality, you know?
Well, not in movies and shit. They don't. Like when I say media, I'm sorry. In this, maybe I should have been more clear. That's my bad. When I say media in this context, what I mean is that like movies and shit oftentimes portray black people as being like in gangs or criminals or the bad guy or whatever. Like that's a complaint I've seen. among some like progressive spaces before. So I can recognize that like that kind of a complaint, I guess. But yeah, I don't really know if you can attribute the actual real world problems to like that the black community is dealing with to thug culture. That sounds like a complete cop out to me.
NWA came from Compton or whatever, South Side, LA, okay? They are part of reality. They lived in the streets, they sling drugs, and then the media gets this cut of reality and they portray as mainstream culture. You understand that?
I just know that in America, when it comes to like gang-related issues in these black communities, it's largely attributable to systemic racism. I know I kind of sound like a broken record, but it's because I keep saying my point and then you keep saying like random things that don't have anything to do with my point. So like, I'm sure that maybe in where you came from, maybe things were a little bit different, whatever. But again, you said in my chat, it was thug culture, that it's not fair, that I'm being an idiot, that every debate or every argument I made was super bad. And
because you always say the same phrase, systemic racism, and you cannot apply this to
because
everything.
I don't apply it to everything, but it oftentimes is a deeper issue. Like it or not, we are all a product of our environment. All of us are. And that environment has been shaped in a way, especially in these black communities. Historically, they have been shaped in a way that is negatively harming black people, with the gang violence, with the criminality rates, with the higher policing, with the disproportionate poverty. All of this can be attributable back to systemic racism.
Do you believe...
Call me a broken record, cry and whine that I'm saying the same thing over and over again. I don't care. It's like I'm saying the same answer over and over again. It's like 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 is 2. Hunter, you keep saying the same thing. 1 + 1 is 4, by the way.
Is more racist now than in the 60s?
Hmm?
Do you think America is more racist now than in the 60s and in the 50s?
I don't know or care. What does this have to do with thug culture?
Because, no, I'm talking about fatherlessness now.
Okay.
America, black people had more fathers in the households in the 50s and the 60s because of culture, okay? They promoted a culture where fathers shouldn't be at home. They want fathers out of the home.
What was the culture?
That's why,
what culture was promoted?
It's thug culture, it's welfare culture, where a mother has kids, and if the father's at home, they don't get a check. But if the father isn't home, they get a check. They're funding.
So I don't know if it's actually that cut and dry, but usually if you look at it, it's my understanding that most women are not going to just like choose an extra welfare check over having a like husband in the house, right? Again, we can look at the reason that a lot of the I know, because women are all conniving and evil and whatnot. But
no, not all women. I'm talking about this subsection of culture where, yeah, they prefer a check than a fucking...
I don't know if you can say that they prefer to check over a husband. I don't know how you can make that claim unless you have some data to back it up. It is just purely conjecture. But yes, there was the Great Society Act, again, which did lead to bolstering up welfare. And that did have some, maybe you could argue, did have some negative effects where I'm not going to deny that you did see the rates of single motherhood rise from that, but you didn't just see this in black communities. You saw this happen in white communities also. And again, I'm going to say the same thing to you that I said to the last guy that you said was such a bad argument. The reason that is because now women have the autonomy to leave if they have to. It's not always the evil, conniving woman. Sometimes it's the evil, abusive husband. Okay? Like, now they have the actual ability to survive without a man. This gives women the autonomy to choose whether or not they want to be with a man. And just if he fucks her and gets her pregnant, doesn't mean that he's not an abusive scumbag that she might want to leave.
Some women prefer hugs. Do you agree?
I'm not going to... no, I'm not going to even just acknowledge that because that's such a dumb fuck argument. Can you please try to address one? So
Women,
some women just
lots of women.
prefer thugs? That's your
No,
answer?
no,
Really?
some. I said some. I didn't say women. I said some women prefer thugs. They are attracted to thugs. They are attracted to criminals, and you don't want a criminal in your house. Okay, so they
Okay.
have kids. It's very prolific. This happens a lot,
So is this
and
just a
you're
story?
in denial.
No, is this just, it's just interesting to see like you just tell me a story here. Like it's not like is this a bedtime story? Is this a
No.
new script to a movie you're writing?
Oh, dude, if you cannot even
Apparently you're just like it sounds like you're just making shit up to me right now. You're like actually women oftentimes prefer thugs. Women actually based
yeah,
on
it's
what I
fact.
was reading by the redpill.com. It's blah, blah, blah. Like
No,
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 fuck
no,
off,
it's
dude.
not.
It's not about that, okay? You saw an uptick in single motherhood when welfare was bolstered in both white communities and black communities. And again, I'm going to keep on saying it's partially because women had the freedom to leave. That doesn't mean every single time it was an abusive husband, but it also doesn't mean every single time it was a conniving, evil woman. Most
No,
of the
it's not.
time,
It's
or a
not.
lot of the times,
Women.
it was because women were able to leave abusive relationships. Again, look at the rates of like spousal abuse before women were able to leave. They had no choice but to just sit there and take it. They couldn't survive
true.
without the man.
Okay, this is true, but there is also a factor of social engineering. Uh, Dysfunctional families are useful for revolutionary types, that are very
So we're back into
powerful nowadays.
conspiracism.
No, it's conspiracism. Okay, you
so is
don't believe in
someone so
Marxism.
some
You
group
don't
of
believe in
people are
Marxism.
wait, help me understand. Is some group of people trying to like break up the black community because it's beneficial? Like help me understand this deeper.
All communities. It's beneficial to higher upper classes to destroy the middle class, so they can
Well, black people
remain
are
in
already
power.
black people are already disproportionately in poverty, so that wouldn't really affect them too much, right?
Yeah, but it's gonna affect white people when criminals come to your home and rob you and kill you or whatever.
Are you seriously the same guy from my chat? Are you Dan123?
Yeah.
You're the guy that was telling me that I had dumb fuck bad arguments.
No, you are repeating systemic racism. That's why fatherlessness. And I don't agree. It's a factor. It's a factor in the drug war. Yeah, black people are arrested more for drug offenses.
So you
I
agree that
agree
there's
with that.
systemic racism that affects this. So other than that,
But it's
okay,
just
so
one
let me
factor,
explain why.
it
Hold
doesn't
on, stop.
explain
Because let me
everything.
explain why this is why I will explain now why your argument is a dumb fuck argument, okay? So when it comes to policies in place, that's what we really have to look at the end of the day, right? So policies in place right now, like the disproportionate way that the drug war affects black people, that's what's leading to statistical upticks of black people in prison and a decrease of fathers in the home. So that's one policy we can agree on that maybe plays a role, okay? It doesn't mean it's everything, but it definitely plays a role. So
Yes, I
you
agree.
ameliorate that policy, but if you want to talk about personal responsibility and stick to the family or whatever, that's something that's taught in the home, my friend. That's not something the government does. That's not a
Yes.
policy. It's a virtue signal. Unless you're up here to teach a self-help panel on how to make your life a better place from Dan123, it's
do you think
meaningless.
is the culture? What do you think is the culture that they teach these kids in these homes that have no fathers?
Why do you think that
they
culture
say,
exists
"Oh,
to
you
begin
need
with?
a-"
Why do you think a culture that glorifies gangs and drugs could exist? Where do you think that culture came from?
Because there is funding for it. Because if a woman
You don't think it
fucks
has
up
anything to do
instead of-
with historically, like black communities needing to like turning to gang violence,
Oh yeah,
or
that
anything to do with like
also.
historically like drugs and gangs kind of being glorified, sometimes partially like in these black communities? Like literally the reason that exists is because of like gangs, for example, exist because of the drug war, which we already acknowledged is systemic racism,
no.
and yes, and also
Gangs exist because they are self-defense organisms the police was
Partially,
coming
yes, but
suppressing
also
them?
people in those communities will oftentimes turn to gangs rather than police, because when you have a community that's adversarial against the police, you'll oftentimes see that community kind of form their own like militia almost, right? So
Yes.
that can play a role in it too, but it's also an uptick of gang violence because of the drug war, of course. There's people that are
Yeah.
obviously, trafficking drugs and so forth. And all of that, again, is back to systemic racism. So can you explain, please, Dan? 1, 2, 3. If you're capable of counting that high, can you please explain to me how the fuck my argument is a dumb fuck argument?
Because you can only repeat systemic racism when this is one small factor in a huge complex problem. Okay?
Because of the funding for it?
Yes.
So what's
I
the
would
funding?
argue
Explain
it's
this to me.
well, welfare promotes fatherlessness. When a father is at home and he can pay for the family, he can provide for the family,
Uh-huh.
you don't need welfare.
So,
When you
so
promote
what why would
welfare for
so would
okay,
go ahead.
yes.
Go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm waiting. What? Why are you?
I need
interrupting
to
me?
no, please go ahead. There's music playing in the background. I need to turn down. Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, welfare is funding fatherlessness. When a woman has
So
kids,
we're back to
check.
the woman's choosing the welfare over the man thing. Back again, right?
Yeah, and
So
it
then
happens
your
a lot.
theory could actually be correct in some senses, in the sense that maybe that's one of the reasons why we're also seeing, like, if you look at it again statistically, black fathers are actually in the home a lot more than they appear to be when you look at it statistically. They're just not married. So that's why you see a higher rate of like single mothers. Now, I do believe there's still a higher rate there, but it's largely inflated, right? So maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe so.
No, it's not
Maybe they're coming to an agreement that, like, hey, let's not get married. That way you can keep getting welfare. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we can fix this by making it so that the guy is able to get a job in the local community where he's able to make enough to afford to put food on the table that doesn't require turning to like gang violence or something. That doesn't mean that happens every single time, but again, there's lower opportunities in these communities because they're already disproportionately impoverished, again, because of things like redlining, and that goes back to systemic racism. So again, could you please try to explain why this is a dumb fuck argument, Dan? Please.
When you concentrate your attention to systemic racism, when clearly a bigger factor is welfare, that's a dumb argument.
So is welfare a policy that you think is negatively
let me
affecting
finish.
black
No,
people?
Let me finish. No, let me finish. In the 50s and the 60s, America was more racist than it is now. Fact. And fatherlessness was way less prevalent. Do you agree?
But that's also because women were unable to leave. They literally couldn't leave. But that's assuming that all those marriages were like happy, loving, nice, perfect marriages, and then all of a sudden welfare came along and she was like, you know what, fuck you, honey, I'd rather get $1,200 a month. When in reality, it's like, no, there were oftentimes relationships where women were being abused or even raped by their husbands, unable to really do anything because they could not exist or operate in society without a man. Okay, so with welfare also, but it's not just, here's the thing, it's not just welfare. It was also that at this time, women began getting more and more freedom, more and more autonomy, and it was much more, like women were much more capable of living on their own. They did not really need a man to survive in society any longer. Society had kind of progressed past that.
Life was harder.
So
life was harder.
What?
But now that life is easier and welfare is there for these women, and there is this culture about having a lot of kids and not fucking raising them and slinging drugs and whatever, hustling,
So why do you think there's a
This happens
culture
way
about?
from
So why do you
home.
think there's a culture that might glorify slinging drugs?
Because that's how you make money. in
So
the
why do
hood,
you think
in
that
the
why do
town.
you think that there's a culture where they have to turn to drugs to make money?
It's not systemic racism. It's poverty. It's
So why are they in poverty?
because that's the standard situation. Everybody is poor if your family didn't save money. You know.
So why
Everybody's
didn't they
poor.
save money?
They didn't save money
So why do black
because
people not
they
save
were
enough money?
dysfunctional in the first place.
They were what?
Dysfunctional.
What's dysfunctional mean?
Well, you're not.
Could it have something to do with them
Well-
not being able to buy a home and not being able to build up generational wealth, which is a huge way that you save money throughout generations, send your kids to college, you build up your home equity line. That's another huge way that people would pay for their kids' college. Could it be something to do with that maybe? Because there was redlining in place that kept black people from owning nice homes that could actually like accumulate real wealth.
In part, yes.
So systemic
there is
racism.
another-
So we're back to systemic racism then.
Yeah, but you only see this factor. You can only see
No, what we
systemic
see right
racism.
now
You
is
don't
the
see-
no.
you
What
don't
we see right now is the thought
individual
process of someone
choices.
that doesn't have more than 2 fucking brain cells to rub together. It's just embarrassing that you come in here after coming in my chat. Hunter's making dumb arguments. Hunter's so stupid. LOL.
He's
It's
too
thug
hard.
culture,
He's too
dude.
hard.
All right.
He's too
What's
hard.
thug culture right now is the fact that I just beat the fuck out of you right now live on air. Okay, that's the thug culture. All right. Fuck
No,
you,
you're
Dan.
saying-
No, you're so stupid, dude. All right,
Okay.
this is what this is at the end of the day, is so that you can get up on your high horse, right, and say, "Well, black people just have a bad culture, so it's all on them." The end.
No,
Instead of actually
that's
looking
not-
at the
is that
underlying
what I
problems.
said?
Oh, really? I don't know. I
You don't
think
see
maybe you're making
culture?
too many dumb fuck arguments. I don't know.
You don't see culture as a factor.
Do you want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to your channel before we go? Yeah, we know how this all goes. Okay.
You
Yeah.
only see
No.
policies.
Bye. Have
You
fun
only
with the
see
thug
policies.
culture. You ready? Here we go. Holy shit, that guy was fucking stupid. Jesus. Oh my god. He just kept on going back. It was systemic racism still. These people, dude, they're so fucking infuriating. Hey mods, go ahead and ban Dan123. He's getting banned now. Even though you showed up in the Discord, you're still getting banned on the basis of you being dumb. So, I guess Mayo never showed up, huh? Got so distracted arguing with that boomer. And then that other guy. Oh, well. I guess we'll go... I guess we'll go over briefly the Project Veritas thing. I'm not going through the whole video, guys. Sorry, I never do. I don't care enough. I feel like I lost a few brain cells. Yup. Hey, don't forget, if you are enjoying the stream, please put something in the super chat, guys. Your donation helps support the channel. And you know what? If you're watching on Twitch, I love you very much for that, by the way. Thank you for watching on Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, you can send a personal message to me on PayPal. My PayPal is attached in the about section on my Twitch. If you're watching on mobile, I think you can just scroll down, I think. And yeah, send something to me via PayPal. I will get it in my email. I will read your message and respond to it live on air. If you want to donate to my weed fund, I'll read it. If you want to say, "Hi, Hunter, I love you," I'll read it. Same goes for you, Super Chat, too, okay? But Twitch, we have a nice amount of viewers right now. I love you all so much. Thank you, Twitch. So yeah. Is YouTube chat up on their screen? Do we have a different perspective? The chat on screen, my friend, is YouTube and Twitch mixed together. Smoke weed every day. Yep. And if you know what, if you're watching on Twitch and you don't want to PayPal me something, which is completely fine, by the way, it's totally, if you don't want to donate, you don't have to, by no means. Then just hit that follow button, you know? Just click it. That's free. Not asking you to sub. Just click the follow button. Turn on the bell. I go live a lot now. Hunter, does YouTube chat have to be on the screen? Yeah. All right. Let's get into the Project Veritas thing. Oh boy. Here we go again. So, Project Veritas, con artist James O'Keefe, back at it again with some more dipshittery, telling us things we already knew. Let's find out what's going to happen.
Deception Propaganda, a new book by James O'Keefe. Pre-order now at AmericanMuckraker.com.
It begins with an ad for his book. Interesting.
Inside portion of the actual virus, so your antibodies are probably better at that point than the vaccination.
Nick Carl is an experienced biochemist at Pfizer with a history of working in the pharmaceutical industry. Nick admits to our undercover journalist that those who've had COVID have stronger immunity than those who've received the Pfizer COVID vaccine.
When somebody is naturally immune, like they got COVID, they probably have better, like not better, but more antibodies against the virus. Because what the vaccine is like I said, that protein that's just on the outside. So it's just one antibody against one specific part of the virus. When you actually get the virus, you're going to start producing antibodies against like multiple pieces of the virus. And not only just like that outside portion, like the inside portion of the actual virus. So your antibodies are probably better at that point than the vaccination.
But don't take his word for it. 2 other Pfizer.
So is this what it takes now to do like conservative breaking news shit? Be like, Pfizer admits right here that in order to, well, Pfizer admits to our undercover journalists, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, right here that Pfizer says, loud and clear, ladies and gentlemen, that in order to take this vaccine, you will need to get a shot. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That's right. Do we need to show it again to you in slow motion? Yeah, you're probably going to have to get a shot to get it. I mean, the pills aren't going to be out for a while. He said it, ladies and gentlemen. Do you need to hear that again? Like, do they just tell us things that are obvious? So, okay. God, it's so stupid. It's hard. It's literally hard. Hard as a fucking rock. That's how challenging watching this kind of bullshit is. It's So, okay, 1, everybody knows that, natural immunity might be better. Everybody knows this. So why are they talking about it like it's this big breaking shocking news? We all fucking know, like, yes, if you get COVID, you have more antibodies built up against it. And then whereas the vaccine only delivers 1 spike protein, but not everybody can afford to get COVID. Not everybody wants to risk long-term effects to get antibodies so that what? They no longer have to get COVID? They already had COVID, though. They already got it. What? Not to mention, I have some handy research here. There's actually some research on this showing that the COVID-19 natural immunity versus vaccination thing is a really nuanced conversation. So let me make this clear. If you get COVID, there's a possibility that, yes, you can develop antibodies against it. But according to this study, only 36% of COVID-19 cases didn't result in development of SARS antibodies. A recent study found that 36% of COVID cases, didn't result in the SARS-CoV antibodies. The people had different levels of illness. Most had moderate disease, but some were asymptomatic and some experienced severe COVID-19. Vaccine-induced immunity is more predictable than natural immunity. It's kind of like what I was saying, remember? The COVID-19 vaccines provide great protection from severe disease, hospitalization, and death. And then this also suggests that natural immunity fades more quickly than vaccine immunity. Man, I'm not here to, like, you know, jerk myself off or anything. This is a Christian server here, but damn, I'm right about all this shit, because this is exactly what I said. Natural immunity can decay within about 90 days. Immunity from COVID-19 vaccines has been shown to last longer, for at least 6 months. Yep. For example, 65% of people with a lower baseline antibody from infection to begin with completely lost their COVID-19 antibodies by 60 days. What about the Israeli study suggesting natural immunity is stronger? Infectious diseases experts carefully evaluates the study's design. In the briefing, he identifies 2 concerning sources of error that were not corrected for: survivorship bias and selection bias. Natural immunity alone is weak. One study compared natural immunity alone to natural immunity plus vaccination. They found that after injection, unvaccinated people are 2.34 times likelier to get COVID-19 again compared to fully vaccinated people. So vaccinated people after injection have half the risk of reinfection than people relying on natural immunity alone. How soon is too soon to get the vaccine? Yeah, so it sounds like this is just really unpredictable. So, like, it's possible that if you get COVID, that your body can build up natural immunity that could hypothetically be stronger, but it's a lot less predictable. It lasts a lot shorter. And again, it's like, it's super unpredictable. More than a third of COVID-19 infections result in 0 protective antibodies. That's another thing too. So you couldn't just be like, well, I got COVID, so I have antibodies. People should still have to get vaccinated.
Scientists echo the same sentiment.
So I'm well protected? Yeah. Like as much as the vaccine?
Probably more.
Did you guys hear about the Ligma variant?
How so? Like how much more?
You're protected most likely for longer, since it was a natural response.
We're like bred and taught to be like vaccine is safer than actually getting COVID. You cannot like talk about this in public. If you have antibodies built up, like you should be able.
I love how it's edited, right? How it's like, we're bred and taught to be like, the vaccine is safer than actually getting COVID. Wait, that's because it's true. Am I losing my mind? That's because it's fucking true, you idiot. And then they clip it. Like, we're bred and taught to say that. Yeah, we're bred and taught to say that the vaccine is safer than actually getting COVID. That's a true statement.
It's safer than actually getting COVID. You cannot like talk about.
And then it just clips. You cannot like talk about this. It's not in public. Wait, what? Well, what are they talking about? Did they say like, yeah, before we go into our meetings, they always say, you know, stuff like, you cannot like talk about this. It's not in public, you know, and then they just clip it right there. You can't talk about this. It's not in public. Oh, no. And boomers right now, soy jacking out.
This public. If you have antibodies built up, like you should be able to prove that you have those built up.
I mean, I still feel like
this all makes sense. You should have to be able to prove that. And you can't do it by just saying, I have COVID. So for them to say, or for them to just say, I had COVID at one point, no. You should probably get vaccinated. Plus, even now that we know that natural immunity could be stronger for like a much shorter amount of time, there are also studies that show that getting vaccinated combined with already having natural immunity even greatly gives you more protection. So again, you like, why wouldn't you get vaccinated?
I work for like an evil corporation. They're trying to
I work for an
keep track
evil
of everyone that's
corporation.
been vaccinated
Okay,
versus
maybe.
the census of how many people are actually reported. Basically, our organization is run on COVID money now. You don't talk about anything that
They show like just little bits. You have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Run on COVID money? That would probably make sense considering, yeah, they're making a lot of money with the COVID vaccine. Yes. Did you just clip this? What's the context? Why did they say it? Where's the full footage. Is there like a... Nope, not even a link. It's so deceptive. Keep in mind, this guy has literally paid hundreds of thousands of dollars various different times. Well, no, at least one time. In lawsuits. Because he deceptively edited footage.
COVID money now. You don't talk about anything that can possibly implicate you or like fine. Like even if you shut the door to the office, it's kind of like, who's listening?
I specifically have like, oh god, I signed NDAs against this.
The government doesn't want to show that the darn vaccine is full of shit.
It needs to be registered the people who aren't vaccinated.
Why do they just get off on just like spreading misinfo? Only 600 dislikes and 110,000 likes. You know what? 664. Although small, we are mighty.
Very I'm gonna go door to door instead of going, oh, it's just your booster shot.
Don't get vaccinated.
The vaccine is full of shit. Remember this one where the one random nurse said, they don't want anyone to know that it is a vaccine. It's full of shit.
Not report because they want to show it on the map.
Oh god, I signed NDAs against this. So your antibodies are probably better at that rate than the
everything we've already heard. So, okay.
Our next installment in the series exposing Big Pharma will feature multiple releases inside one of the nation's largest COVID vaccine manufacturers, Pfizer. The series features not one, not two, but three scientists within Pfizer talking to one of our undercover journalists, making stunning admissions about the COVID vaccine and the culture inside of Pfizer.
Like, we're like bred and taught to be like vaccine is safer than actually getting COVID. And that's like honestly, we have to do so many seminars on this. Like, you have no idea. Like, we have to like sit there for hours and hours and listen to like be like, you cannot like talk about this like, in public. You know, logically though, like if you have antibodies built up, like you should be able to prove that you have those built up. Like, and just be like, I don't know, maybe potentially that doesn't seem that crazy.
Look, he's like on the edge. He's like, I don't know. And yeah, there are already people that do that. So like in other European countries, they are having if you've already had COVID, then you only have to get one shot. And then in Israel, I think it's if you get one shot, or if you've already had COVID, you only have to get one shot also. I think. But again, keep in mind that getting fucking COVID puts you at risk of other long-term issues here.
And I have monster immunity after 8 months, so I just got checked last month for antibodies.
I mean, that's no worries. Same thing with my brother.
So should I get the vaccine?
Wait.
So when?
If your immunity starts to wane, then get vaccinated.
So I'm well protected? Like as much as the vaccine?
Probably more.
How so? Like how much more?
I mean, so
expose Pfizer, something we all know. A recent report from the CDC showed that people who recovered from COVID and were later vaccinated had half the risk of reinfection compared with unvaccinated people who'd previously had COVID. Cool.
Out with. So right now we're seeing an increase in the Delta variant, mostly not because of the variant, because of basically their antibodies are waning. So they're still protected, but not at that 95%.
Wait, this is literally, isn't this shooting down? Is he saying the vaccine isn't as effective anymore? Or is he saying that natural immunity isn't bad? Yeah, because of immune. They're antibodies, yeah. This is like a point against him. They're trying to say like, look, he said it decline. He said your antibodies decline.
So you're protected most likely for longer, since it was a natural response. Mm-hmm. So basically, they're trying to keep track of everyone that's been vaccinated versus the census of how many people.
So before we get into this, they're trying to keep track. I don't know, like of course they are. There is So the Israeli preprint, which is the thing that said that natural immunity is better, that a bunch of like conservatives were soying over. It also does shed light on our increasing understanding of the potent immunity induced by getting the vaccine after having COVID, so-called hybrid immunity. Several studies show a substantial boost in both antibody and a T-cell responses to vaccine in people with previous COVID infection. So it's like the same thing. we already know that if you get COVID, you might have antibodies against it. Great. And conservatives watch this. Hashtag expose Pfizer. Oh my God. It's like, bruh, so desperate for anything they can have, anything they can grasp. Look, this guy said natural immunity's better. Nick Carl, more like Karl Marx.
Like, if you are restricting people that are unvaccinated from doing anything, and then like vaccinated people are allowed to do anything they want, eventually they're just going to be like, let me just get vaccinated. I mean, you have multiple companies that were basically given a crap ton of money to produce vaccines, and they're pushing them.
So what happens to the monoclonal antibody?
What companies were they given money via Project Warp Speed in order to quickly develop it? What do you mean? Again, listen to what they actually are saying, not just the, like, they want you to hear, like, given money by who? Ooh, spooky. Like, that's how the conservatives work, right? It's this spooky intuition sort of bad feeling that they get hooked on. But, like, what do you mean? You have multiple companies. What companies? Are you talking about other pharmaceutical companies? Yeah, they were probably given some funding, sure. But people constantly fearmonger about how, like, what do they say? They're like, the FDA is actually funded by the pharmaceutical companies. Well, partially. They're funded by service fees, and that's to, like, incentivize them, oftentimes to, like approve drugs faster. And some people get worried that increases the uptick of, like, negative symptoms. But my question would be, because there has been, like, a slight uptick, but my question would be, is that just because there are more medicines in general that are being released? I don't know. Either way, it's like, yeah, companies are going to be given money to develop a vaccine.
Given
yes,
a crap ton of money to produce vaccines, and they're pushing them.
So what happens to the monoclonal antibody trains?
Push to the side.
Why?
Money. It's disgusting.
Money. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Or maybe it's because the natural immunity thing is super, like, iffy, doesn't last as long. The research on it's really mixed. And also, getting COVID isn't really a very good idea. Oh, look, you're not wearing a wire, right?
Wearing a wire, right? I mean, I still feel like I work for, like, an evil corporation because it comes down to profits in the end. And I mean, I'm there to help people, not to make millions and millions of dollars. So, I mean.
So, see, people say this all the time as if it's like this big bad thing. Like, good. We have a company that is incentivized to produce the best possible drug as quickly as possible. And then on top of that, we have the FDA, which is making sure that they abide by certain standards. And the FDA would also suffer if those standards weren't met. It's actually like a decent incentive there. Now, if they were literally just like paying the FDA to not talk about symptoms, like whatever, like, then maybe you'd have a different conversation to be had if they were doing it all for money. But come on, that's not the case with this vaccine specifically, especially when it's been given out worldwide.
That's the moral
I would say
dilemma.
billions and billions.
I'm trying to be nice.
No, I hear you. I do. I mean, I'll still give you a hard time about it.
Basically, our organization is run on COVID money now.
How so?
Like, it netted like over 15 billion last year.
Chris Croce is a senior associate.
So again, they say it like it's spooky, but it's just not spooky. Yeah, they made a lot of money on a successful COVID vaccine. Great. A company was incentivized to develop a vaccine that was safe and effective, that met the stringent FDA standards. Hell yeah. They probably should make money for that, right? Aren't you conservatives all about the capitalism? I guess if they're getting more fascistic, they don't really care about that at the end of the day.
It's scientist with Pfizer. He goes on to explain a test that is currently taking place at Pfizer, not to determine the effectiveness, but to see if it is leading to heart attacks.
I'm glad you didn't get any myocarditis. So that's a concern, right?
No. More so for younger people.
Why?
That's what we're looking into right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so,
again.
Yeah, we're
This is like the same thing as last time. So natural immunity is better, despite all the long-term effects, guys. And then of getting COVID. And then, yeah, you know, if you get a myocarditis, something that literally goes away on its own like 99% of the time, and you don't even need to be hospitalized, you're not problem. Like, it's actually pretty rare also. Then all of a sudden they're like, listen how spooky this is. Holy shit. Whoa, guys, listen. Yikes. What about all the heart issues and long-term lung damage that can come from getting COVID? Why do they never seem to be that scared about this?
We just sent like 3,000 patient samples to get tested for like elevated troponin levels. To see if it's vaccine based or so.
What's it look like?
I don't know. We just sent that over this past week, and the last batch will be sent over next week. All external testing. We'll see. Hopefully it's good. Because I mean, if not, then in my opinion, that might pull something from the market.
If the scientists believe that the antibody works more effectively than the vaccines, it begs the question, what's with all the federal mandates, regardless of what the data says?
There's ears and eyes everywhere.
What do you mean?
What? Yeah, Pfizer, like, in the building. So it's kind of just like, you don't talk about anything that can possibly implicate you or, like, big pharma.
I love how the one guy they got is like, yeah, they're like an evil corporation. They have cameras everywhere. It's super Usually when you're in, like, a large facility, there's going to be cameras. Plus, aren't we happy there are cameras? That way we know that, like, there's no funny business going on. Isn't that, like, a good thing? I don't know. It's just, what do you mean just if they know antibodies are better? Because how long do they last?
At the door to the office.
We see the data. We know they don't last as
These
long.
expressed views run contrary to the current public policy affecting millions of people. If you're on the inside of a pharmaceutical company, contact us at Veritas Tips at protonmail.com.
That's it. That's their big expose, guys. Myocarditis, the thing that we've been arguing about for 3 fucking months with anti-vaxxers, and antibodies are better. 110,000 likes. Oh my god! You literally, what fucking morons actually take this shit seriously? It pains me. It's so stupid. Oh gosh. Orgasm or seizure? A soygasm. That's what it was. I'm really psyched up about how we're doing on Twitch, dude. We've been getting over 100 viewers on Twitch, which for me, I only have not even 5K followers. I'm just a little baby on Twitch right now. So I really appreciate the views, guys. Project Veritas is literally fucking trending right now. Oh god. Let's see what they're saying. Hold on. You guys hear about Windows 11? Apparently Windows 11 came out today. So Project Veritas is what's trending. Let's take a look. Which chat does Hunter look at? I look at both chats equally. They're combined. Oh, look. Mine is up here. Cool. Like all things Republican, Project Veritas is the polar opposite of its name. It's literally Project Gaslight. Okay. Who cares? This is so weird. I'm wondering if there's anything here that, like, new Project Veritas video shows scientists saying Pfizer vaccine is useless when people have natural antibodies. See how that got twisted there already? Just, when did they say the vaccine is useless? What? No, the vaccine combined with natural immunity is actually even more beneficial. But that's what happens. You just twist it around, right? It's not about truth. It's about the narrative. Note the difference between how the media treats Project Veritas versus how they're treating this Facebook whistleblower. That's a conservative L right there. Can someone screenshot that and send it to conservative L's? Conservatives posting their L's online. You know what? Fuck you people. I'll do it myself. Benny. Ooh! Such a soy. Alright, hold on. The media is about sensationalism. That is definitely true. They are about sensationalism. Wait. How am I still logged in when I'm in incognito mode? Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. Alright, what was I doing again? Oh yeah, gonna clown on this Benny guy. I don't need anyone's help. I'll do it myself. How do you like them apples, huh? There we go. Conservative cell phone. So how have you guys been doing? Bro, you need DuckDuckGo. Yeah, I know. I know. DuckDuckGo. I need more like DuckDuck. I don't even have a joke. At least we kind of have Hassan. Dude, I'm better than Hassan. You guys all know it. Let's be real. Hunter is an independent woman that can do it all by himself. That is correct. Thank you, Chef Lean, for the kind words of encouragement. The right turned anti-establishment because of Trump. I watch live streams more than any form of content these days. The MSM ruined themselves a long time ago. Yeah, honestly, live streams are a lot more fun. Plus, then you have the risk, you have the chance of having your comment read and said by my luscious voice. Excuse me. Huntress Avalone. Yeah. Seriously, dude. Hunterina. The right isn't anti-establishment. They just want to be the establishment. Yeah, might be fair. Hunter, what did you do with Honest Bear? Honest Bear is sitting over here in like by my bin of storage stuff. I'm sorry, Honest Bear. So yeah, that's just the truth. We want to be them again? I know you guys do. Why must you be so luscious? Because that's just who I am, okay? Perfume Man, thank you so much for the $10 donation. How is your transition to a vegan going? Do you find it challenging to sustain, or are you enjoying it? It can be a little challenging at times overall, yeah, but nope, still going loud and proud. That's fine. Your cone on the Wii is more based. Yeah, it's a little bit better, you know, for the cone says no. Come on, See, like, okay, well, final meme here, okay? Because I'm going to have to go and get my daughter here in a second, guys. But here's the final meme, okay? It would be that everyone knows you don't wear stripes and checkers. See? That looks super bad. And then let's say something like that happens, okay? You don't want your friend to not have a good drip. You don't want your friend to look like a fucking streamer loser like me. So you would take the cone, and remember, the cone must be obeyed. There's really no question about that. That is the one objective fact of this world, and that is the cone must be obeyed. So, buddy, the cone says no. And with that should be a harsh condemnation of any behavior that you find abhorrent or unacceptable. Now, at the end of the day, the cone does not say no to anything. The cone is rather accepting, but the cone is not accepting of ugly fashion and stripes and checkers like me, what I'm wearing, okay? Your cone is too small. Don't talk about my cone like that, dude. Now when I'm off... All right, hold on. Let me turn off camera for a second. Okay, yeah, no one's looking, right? The cone. You have to... yeah, that my cone is... It's okay. The cone consented. You know, a lot of women will tell you that the size of the cone does not actually matter that much. Just at the end of the day, remember that the cone must be obeyed. Did Mayo run away? I guess so. Hold on, let me look. Yeah, no, nothing. I tweeted him too. Yeah, no mention either. Oh well. Guess not. No Mayo. Bye, Mayo. I'm gonna be sad. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. And to those who donated, I appreciate it. To those that clicked that follow button, you are especially based on Twitch. Thank you. I love you. And to those who clicked the subscribe button and the like button on YouTube, I love you too. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this nice 3-hour-long afternoon stream. I will see you all soon. Peace.